Mark the Hammer Coleman, Tsuyoshi Kosaka, Pedro Rizzo, Boss Rutten, and lightweight champion Pat Miletich. The most exciting mixed martial arts event in the world today returns live to New Orleans with the lightweight belt on the line, 2 heavyweight super fights, and much more as the new look UFC kicks off 1999 with UFC 18. Down the Mississippi River and all the beautiful areas here in the Bayou Country, where Creole is king and legends live inside the Pontchartrain Center. Beautiful New Orleans, Louisiana, our first of 9 in 99 here on the UFC. Welcome inside as we have once again unveiled the one, the only, the Octagon at the Pontchartrain Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is the UFC. This is UFC 18. Hi again, everybody, and thank you once again for being part of what we hope will be another historic night. We say hello once again to our fans all over the world, our satellite providers staying with us here in the United States, and cable operators, our friends in Canada, and our fans in Japan and Brazil. The UFC once again starts out 99 by going global. One thing is for sure, we boast the greatest mixed martial artists in the world, but another thing is for certain also. The UFC has the most loyal fight fans in the world. One of those loyal fans just happens to be my partner, the Olympic gold medalist, Jeff Blatnick. I'll tell you what, we're ready to go again. 9 in 99, partner.
Absolutely incredible. SCG has made a commitment. We are staying on the air, and we are on the air because of you, the fans. And we have an ultimate prize in the ultimate contest for the ultimate fan. All of you who have written cable companies in the past and are going to be continuing to rate cable companies in the future, we want you to send a letter to either www.seg.com or send that letter to SEG Sports, 12 East 57th Street, New York, New York 10022. And in our next show in March, we will pick a winner, and that winner will receive 2 ringside seats and air accommodation to the event for our April show, the finals of the road to the heavyweight championship. We want to say thank you. We would not be on the air, and Canada would not be back unless it was for you and your support, the fans. Thank you.
The best way we continue to thank our fans is by continuing to bring you great action inside the Octagon tonight, Jeff. Stop number 2 on the road to the heavyweight title. Pedro Rizzo coming off an impressive debut at Ultimate Brazil.
And he'll be taking on Mark Coleman. In the other battle, it'll be Boss Rutten against Tsuyoshi Kosaka. And Coleman, his last 2 times in the Octagon, has lost. A devastating loss to Maurice Smith. Cost him his championship. He then had to go through rehab after hurting his knee. First fight back against Pete Williams of the Lion Den, he's knocked out. And in both fights, Mike, it was conditioning that was the big question mark for Mark Coleman, and he failed in both those tests.
I ran out of gas before overtime. I ran out of gas before the fight even started. Mentally, I wasn't prepared for the fight because physically I wasn't prepared. Had them both together, and it's not a good combination, and it's not a good place to be in the middle of the octagon when you're not ready to go. Well, I've trained very hard for this fight. I put everything I've got into this, and I'm confident again. My skills are improved, and I just think my talent's going to be better than his this time around.
Interesting side note to that match is that Mark Coleman has spent some time in recent weeks working out with Ken Shamrock on the other side of the ledger. How much hype can be behind the entrance into the Octagon for the first ever time for Boss Rutten?
Well, many people have tabbed Boss Rutten in the martial arts world as the complete package. Not only is he a consummate grappler, having come from Pancrase in Japan, but he possesses tremendous striking skill, both with his kicks and in Pancrase with open hands. So now they're saying he gets to close his fist. Imagine how good he's going to be then. And so he comes in here tabbed as such a hype as the favorite, and he's got a lot to live up to.
Everybody's putting a hype on me, and I was the king of Pancrase for 2 times and undefeated, and it's a lot of he's going to get a big chance when he's going to defeat me. You know, it's very big for him. And I think he's the best grappler out there right now, the heavyweight grapplers. So for me, it's also a big thing. I think Kosaka's really good.
Tsuyoshi Kosaka, often overlooked, sometimes underestimated. Everybody asks why, though.
Well, TK possesses a great guard. He's great at defense if he's caught in the bottom, and he survived chemo, eventually coming back and outstriking chemo, both from the guard and eventually at the end of the fight from his feet. But listening to Boss and hearing him say he feels Kosaka is the great grappler, best grappler out there among the heavyweights, shows how much he's taking this fight very seriously and is preparing to take on, really, a very tough fighter in Tsuyoshi Kosaka.
There is a belt on the line at our next stop, but this second stop should be historic. Mark Coleman against Pedro Rizzo, Boss Rutten against Tsuyoshi Kosaka. The road to the heavyweight title continues tonight. There is also a belt on the line in the lightweight division as Pat Miletich will defend his title for the first time. The Croatian sensation has been spectacular inside the octagon.
Pat Miletich really has made the most of his skills. He is not the most explosive individual, not the most dynamic individual coming up with all kinds of crazy, wild, funky techniques. He knows what he needs to do, and he gets the job done. He is our lightweight champion. And he's got a real test. Jorge Patino is extremely explosive. Many of his fights have not even lasted 1 minute. And so Miletich is really going to have to face a storm of offense for really the first time in any of his fights in the UFC, and it's going to be a test for him. And in the other lightweight match, interestingly, Burnett and Saunders, who are going to meet up, both lost split decisions to Pat Miletich. The winner of that fight puts himself in line for a rematch for the title.
And Jeff, it was here in New Orleans that Pat Miletich said Mikey Burnett put the lightweight division on the map. One of Mikey Burnett's teammates will re-enter the octagon this evening. He was hurt and could not take on Vitor Belfort as was expected in Brazil. But Jerry Bohlander, a determined 24-year-old, experienced Jerry Bohlander, is back inside the walls today.
Bohlander's only UFC losses to Gary Goodrich. Bohlander, an expert at submissions, loves working on the ground. He is out of the lion's den. The current middleweight champion, Frank Shamrock, has been sensational. He is not on the card. Bohlander certainly is a top candidate, as well as someone who else we'll be visiting with, and that will be Vitor Belfort. With his stunning victory down in Ultimate Brazil, puts himself back in that middleweight picture. That should be very interesting. Bohlander versus Tito Ortiz. Ortiz, a wrestler, very, very powerful, very, very tough. Should be a great bout.
All right, our judges for this evening's matches will be Tim Catalfo from Atlanta, Georgia, founder of the American Submission Academy, Dave Meltzer from San Jose, California, and also Eddie Goldman. Both Meltzer and Goldman respected journalists in wrestling and mixed martial arts. Our first bout on the card this evening comes your way in the middleweight division. A couple of newcomers to the octagon, Darrell Gholar and Evan Tanner. And we look forward to seeing the emergence of new stars in 1999. Two of them could be in the form of those two guys right there on your screen. Darrell Gholar with the UFC debut, and Tanner also in the same situation. Evan Tanner, 27 years old, 6 foot, 199 pounds, fighting out of Norman, Oklahoma, actually trying to get his medical degree at the University of Oklahoma. He is the first foreigner ever to win the Pancras NEO Blood Tournament. A single man, 3 years a wrestler in high school, has very good wrestling skills, an overall record of 16-1 in Pancras and Extreme Challenge.
He's also the USWF heavyweight champ, and he won a 4-man tournament in that Extreme Challenge. Has 3 years of wrestling background in high school, a year in college. Picked up mixed martial arts, enjoys it. His favorite submission, and really up to now, no one seems to be able to stop it. An arm triangle, and that's really a side choke.
His opponent tonight, a great wrestler in his own right. Two-time Greco-Roman national champion, 5'8", 194-pound, 33-year-old Darrell Gholar. Takedowns and overall quickness, a couple of his key elements. He says about Tanner, he's definitely a wrestler. He's tough.
but he does submissions in a similar way to other wrestlers. So it's going to be a freestyle fighter against a Greco-Roman wrestler. You know the wrestlers quite well.
Darrell, I actually competed at the same time with Gholar, really a physical specimen out of Minnesota. Extremely explosive, good upper body power. The only drawback to Darrell Gholar's wrestling career is he fatigued, it seemed, later on in the matches. That's something he needs to overcome to be successful in mixed martial arts.
Tail of the tape, Greco-Roman against freestyle, giving away 8 years of age. Is Darrell Gholar to the younger Evan Tanner. Both gentlemen coming in under 200 pounds as it needs to be here in the middleweight decision. Let's get right to it. You've been waiting long enough for the official Octagon introductions. The veteran voice of the Octagon, our own Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Pontchartrain Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. Tonight, SCG Sports presents 12 of the finest mixed martial artists in the world who will compete here tonight in the world's ultimate proving ground, the Octagon. It's January 8th, 1999. The judges are ready, the fighters are ready, the Louisiana fans and those of you watching around the world are ready as we continue the road to the heavyweight championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to begin the ultimate in freestyle competition. Let's begin UFC 18. Our first fighter is the fighter standing to my left in this middleweight fight. He's a freestyle fighter with a mixed martial arts record of 16-1. He is the current USWF World Champion, standing 6 feet, weighing in at 199 pounds, fighting out of Norman, Oklahoma, and making his Octagon debut. Please welcome Evan Tanner. And his opponent, standing to my right, he's a two-time Greco-Roman National Wrestling Champion, and tonight is making his UFC debut. He stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall, weighing in at 194 pounds. Fighting out of Hollywood, California, please welcome Darrell. Action begins. Our third man in the Octagon is our referee, Big John McCarthy.
There is Big John McCarthy, a constant inside the Octagon since UFC 2, working his 20th UFC here tonight in New Orleans. The 4 most anticipated words of the night about to be said by Big John.
All right, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on.
Here we go. We get it on for the first time in 99. Gholar and Tanner.
Darrell Gholar, screenplay writer out in Hollywood, and I'm sure he would like the script that leads him to the middleweight championship. Evan Tanner's been impressive, continues to learn, and physically he looks a little bit bigger than Gholar. Gholar used to wrestle at 180 pounds. And we'll see if this wrestler has learned how to defend against leg kicks. Most wrestlers have not picked up that skill, keeping the weight off that front leg.
Gholar trains a bit with boss Rutten and Marco Wujas at Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu, boxes in the evening. He really liked Greco-Roman wrestling growing up because he preferred the throws demonstrated in that sport.
Very powerful, and with that upper body strength that he does possess, with that explosive power, it's great for Greco-Roman wrestling. It's literally, the openings are only there for a millisecond, and you've got to grab onto the body and pick it up and arc it. And power is the name of the game in that.
2 debuts here. That foot delivered, but so did the takedown.
Beautiful single with a sweep by Gholar to put him down. Now we'll see what kind of ground skills Gholar possesses in terms of submission and maintaining position.
Evan Tanner, 27 years old, as we mentioned, born in Amarillo, Texas. His best finishing move is an arm triangle. He does have previous experience under UFC-type setups and pancrase rules.
Darrell, pick him up and slam it like in training.
Triangle choke. Triangle choke goes to an armbar.
Gholar looking to end it early. Has his opponent in the air.
Didn't lose the arm, though. He's still got that arm up against his neck. He's pulling down against the elbow, trying to get Gholar to submit there. Darrell needs to get his elbows in. And again, he's working that triangle choke.
It's a couple of rabbit punches to Evan Tanner.
But it's disruptive enough that it takes the pressure off the head, but Tanner's got that locked in deep. Gholar seems to have his head out of it enough now to keep from being choked, and he's got a side mount. But he looks a little lost in there. He's looking just to strike.
Remember, Kevin Jackson, an Olympic champion, had trouble, was susceptible to arm bars in the past.
Particularly this position. Wrestlers are used to putting people to their back, not having people go there and then try to maneuver from that. That's an entirely new skill for wrestlers, and they really have to pay attention to picking up the skills necessary in beating the guard.
Tries to spin him around and get a side mount again, does Darrell Gholar. Tanner said he learned most of his submissions from watching instructional tapes put out by the Gracie family. I thought that was quite unique. Of course, they are some of the best in the world at it. Royce Gracie, one of our most decorated former champions.
Certainly set the standard for guard play. I mean, very sophisticated. Even though it is only a few moves, his ability to transition between them is what made him so effective. But many of these fighters today, particularly our experienced ones, have picked up those nuances. Gholar just doesn't seem to produce any offense here to hurt Tanner.
Tanner has a mixed martial arts record of 16-1.
Oh, he's good. He showed that he's confident in the guard by going right after Gholar in a triangle choke, comboing it with attacking the arm. And that's what you need, are combinations. You talk about them in boxing, you talk about chain wrestling, putting moves together. Well, likewise, you want a sequence in which one of his submissions going for it is literally a fake, waiting for the response and counter to set up the next.
Gholar's corner, able to aid Darrell with instructions as the action right in front of the corner.
Tanner's doing a nice job of defense here. Gholar really can't get through to strike him.
Gholar was prepared for a tightly contested match here, but he claimed that he is a wee bit meaner. Just a wee bit, maybe. There's a shot. Tanner has a cut above his left eye. 12 minutes with a 3-minute overtime for every match except the lightweight championship match tonight.
They were calling for Darrell from that side mount to knee to the head, but Gholar unable really to get the position, crowded up against the fence to get the space to get position.
Training with Boz Rutten and Marco Hujas. A good background for Darrell Gholar as he is making his way into the mixed martial arts world tonight.
Darrell, keep punching him in the face and pass his guard. Darrell, don't bring those punches too wide. He's going to start you with a triangle again. Come on, let's go.
They don't want Gholar to get too extended over the top. In doing so, that gives the opportunity for Tanner to bring his legs up and go back for that triangle. They're warning Gholar to keep his punches crisp and short. Don't get extended.
I know you've touched on it a bit already, Jeff. What's the biggest difference for a world-class wrestler in your first time in the UFC?
Well, I've never been in there the first time, so it's going to be hard for me to say it, but what I always tell a wrestler is, how many takedowns did you get the first 500 tries when you started the sport? I said, that's the kind of attitude you have to have in learning submission. You're going to have to give up your pride, learn the game, and then take advantage of all those great skills that made you a good wrestler to make you a good mixed martial artist. And Tanner fights out of the bottom, and a great knee to Gholar's stomach.
And Gholar moves out to regather. Tanner working from his backside, now delivers a kick to the left leg of Gholar. Gholar appears to be fatigued.
And certainly has not learned how to defend against leg kicks.
Oh, that left just missed.
Darrell better keep his hands up.
Those kicks are landing, and another knee now to Darrell Gholar from Evan Tanner.
And this is what I mentioned about Gholar. Does he have the stamina to keep going? And he's turning his back on Tanner.
Needs a big strength of Tanner. He's using them effectively. Now trying to bring the head into the knee. And a left and a right. Gholar's in trouble. Tanner again.
Tanner showing great heart to get off the bottom, and now in a huge flurry is applying some effective strikes to Gholar using knees, elbows, and punches.
John McCarthy watching closely. Gholar turning away again. He has not made a motion yet.
Gholar is fatigued. This is almost like Mark Coleman. He's turning his back to him. When Coleman lost to both Maurice Smith and Pete Williams, Tanner's also tired, but he's got it.
Oh, there's another right knee.
He still has a reservoir of energy to keep attacking Gholar, and now he's got a rear naked.
This is trouble. Gholar. Wow, what guts to stay in it, though.
That's it.
There it is. There's the tap. Evan Tanner victorious in his UFC debut.
Conditioning the factor there, Mike. Gholar blew up while in the guard trying to punch Evan Tanner. Tanner able to defend himself, keep from being hurt, and then found a way back to his feet and used strikes effectively to be able to put away Darrell Gholar. But it certainly wasn't easy. Gholar started off hard. After a good leg kick by Tanner, Gholar seizes that leg, and you can see the reaction from training, an immediate sweep to take Tanner down. But near the end, once Tanner got back, oh, this is another view of that beautiful takedown again. Nice. Off that high kick. But once Tanner was able to get out from the bottom and get back to his feet, he asserted the strikes that he uses best. And that's his leg kicks and knees. And there, knee to the stomach, knee to the head, changing directions of those strikes, forcing Gholar to try and move, and Gholar was fatigued. This looks a lot like the Maurice Smith versus Coleman. There, elbow there. Done very, very well. And to put it away after a leg kick, Gholar gave him his back in the standing position. Tanner took him down to the mat, rear naked choke, just kept sinking it deeper and deeper, and you'll see Gholar reach back and tap his own leg to signify to John McCarthy he submits.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner by submission at 7 minutes, 57 seconds for the winner, Evan Tanner. Let's have a big hand for a very game opponent and Mr. Darrell Gholar.
Well, a great performance by Evan Tanner, coming out of Extreme Challenge, his last big tournament that he won, a 4-man tournament, and now he's established himself here at the Ultimate Proving Ground, the UFC, and he did short work once he got Darrell Gholar back to his feet. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with our winner, Evan Tanner.
Evan, congratulations, a UFC debut successful. It seemed that your mixed martial arts experience really took over a couple of minutes into the match.
Yeah, he had good wrestling skills. I assumed if we did go to the ground, he would get the takedown. So I prepared in my training to be able to fight from underneath. I assumed I would be there if we went down.
Out of your breath right now, obviously, but Darrell Gholar seemed to be very, very gassed as you worked from your guard. He had the side mount for a moment there. You were holding your energy. You were waiting to get back to your feet, weren't you?
Yeah, I was just trying to defend, and until I got a chance to escape, go on my feet again. I thought I'd have an advantage on my feet against him.
You know, you've had so much success in mixed martial arts. How nice is it to have success in your UFC debut?
Feels good. Feels good. I hope to do a lot more.
I'm sure you will. Evan Tanner, congratulations.
Thank you.
Our first winner tonight, Evan Tanner. Impressive, winning by submission this evening in the first bout at 7:57, Jeff.
And it started tough for Evan Tanner. Tried a leg kick against Gholar. Gholar immediately picked it up. Beautiful leg sweep to follow, dumping Tanner to his back. But Tanner would survive the ground game. His guard and good defense gave him the opportunity to get back to the feet. And here the finishing hold, a rear naked choke, puts away Greco-Roman wrestler Darrell Gholar, and Evan Tanner wins. There you see Gholar tapping. Tanner wins his debut in the UFC.
So a good start to a good night this evening. The debuts of Gholar and Tanner, and as we said, Tanner victorious. Here's a couple of veterans of the UFC. Mikey Burnett, maybe a little bit more so than the man he will take on again this evening, Townsend Saunders, the 1996 Olympic silver medalist in wrestling in Atlanta. At fighter Mikey Burnett made his first octagon appearance at UFC 16. In what many consider the most exciting fight of the night, Burnett went toe-to-toe with Eugenio Taddeo, taking out the Brazilian at the 11-minute mark. Unfortunately, though, due to injury, Burnett's night would not continue. He did return at Ultimate Brazil to take on Miletich for the lightweight championship. After a grueling match, Miletich was awarded the victory. Burnett is back tonight, hungrier than ever. Townsend Saunders also made his octagon debut here in New Orleans, losing a split decision in UFC 16 to now lightweight champion Miletich. A 1996 Olympic silver medalist and two-time national wrestling champion, Saunders felt the fight was too close to call and returns tonight to try to get on the winning track. Now, we had the opportunity to spend some time with Townsend Saunders earlier today. He appeared to be extremely relaxed. And the one thing about Townsend Saunders you have to keep in mind, he does not have the benefit of training full time. He has a job. He is studying to get his MBA at the University of Phoenix. And he's a father of a 4-year-old daughter and 18-month-old son, Townsend III. Oh, by the way, his wife is also a great wrestler in her own competitive nature.
World champion, 3-time world medalist. There's a house you don't want to go into unless you knock first, Mike.
No question, there have been some takedowns in the Saunders household. Nice to see Townsend Saunders back for his second UFC. His opponent, the man they call the East Side Assassin. A wrestler first, he always tells us. 25-year-old Mikey Burnett. Burnett has a simple game plan for this evening.
Same as always, man. Take it to him, you know. Let's see what he's got. I know what I got. I train with the best. I want to see what he's got.
Interesting comment made by Mikey Burnett a couple of weeks ago. He said, the UFC is my chance to be the best in the world in something. He says he's improved a lot since his last fight when he was disappointed in his performance against Miletich. He said, I'll lose before I'll take another stalemate.
Now, Burnett was disappointed with that performance. He says he wants a finish. He says if it's a decision, give it to the other guy. But I'm sure if he fights well and earns a decision here, he'll be happy with that. Tremendous power, 600 deadlifts, 600 squat, a 400 bench press. And on top of all that, he's got Ken Shamrock in his corner, Mike Goldberg.
And Ken has been putting the leather to every member of the Lions Den. Tail of the tape, the East Side Assassin, Mikey Burnett. From the Lions Den, submission specialist, 25 years old, 5'6", 169 pounds, taking on one of the world's greatest wrestlers, Townsend Saunders. From White Sands, New Mexico, now working out in his hometown of Phoenix. Ken Shamrock, one of the greatest champions in UFC history, now enjoying a career in professional wrestling. The former UFC heavyweight champion, very involved in the recent activities of the Lions Den. Intense in his own right. For the official introductions, back inside the octagon, to the voice of the octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Our next fight is a lightweight fight, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a freestyle wrestler and a former two-time national champion and 1996 Olympic silver medalist. He stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds. Fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, please welcome Townsend Saunders. And his opponent, standing to my right, he is a submission fighter and former Greco-Roman national champion. He's also an AAU Sambo champion with a UFC record of 1-1. Standing 5 feet, 6 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds, fighting out of the Lion's Den in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's known as the Eastside Assassin. Please welcome Mikey Burnett. And our referee for this event,
keep in mind, both of these gentlemen competed on March 13th here in New Orleans. Battle in the Bayou. Burnett was victorious against Tito. Saunders lost to Miletich, but Burnett could not finish. Tony Mullinex, our referee, starts this lightweight fight.
And this is going to be interesting. How well can Burnett put punches together, because he's not going to be able to take Townsend Saunders down. Question will be, can Saunders, if he wants to go to the ground, which I assume he will, how is he going to penetrate into Burnett's legs? Generally, you wait for the big strike that goes overextended and follow in behind it.
We know Mikey Burnett, arguably the best striker in the lightweight division, but Miletich neutralized the strikes of Burnett and brought it to the mat the entire time, nearly in Brazil. Saunders told us this afternoon he can't go toe-to-toe with Mikey Burnett. He knows that.
I believe Saunders understands that he has not trained at striking as much as Mikey Burnett has. Certainly not with the kind of competition that Burnett has day in and day out. So look for him to try to keep it even on the feet, and he's probably just waiting for a good opportunity, not trying to rush going in for the legs of Burnett before he actually goes for that takedown. He's going to make sure it's set up right.
Now he's still quick on his feet at 31 years old. Mikey 6 years younger at 25 years old.
And Townsend has great power himself, particularly in positions that he's most familiar with from wrestling, and that is seizing hips.
The Lions Den had some disappointments overseas in Brazil. And as I mentioned before, Ken Shamrock opening a new Lions Den in San Diego, California, has been working very closely with Burnett and Jerry Bohlander, who we will see later tonight in preparation for tonight's matchups.
And Burnett always feels that taking on these bigger guys in training like the Lions Den, that left hand hit Saunders, short left hook. He feels that going against these bigger guys gives him the advantage when he comes down and fights a lightweight, that he always seems bigger than them.
Smallest member and the last man to be initiated into the Lions Den nearly 2 years ago. Mikey Burnett always talks about that was the most difficult thing he ever had to achieve in his life. Acceptance into one of the world's best fighting clubs, Ken Shamrock's Lions Den. He looks like a boxer. He delivers a big shot to Saunders. Now goes in for the close. Can Saunders regather himself?
And he was able to get up. I'm not sure if his head is clear or not.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
He can't even get close to the legs. There's a chance, but Burnett's able to stop it.
It was a right delivered to Townsend Saunders, and he's trying to regather himself.
Saunders is still stunned.
Goes for the shoot again. Burnett wants nothing of the ground. He was cut on his left
Saunders
cheek.
is going to have to get up from here. Saunders is going to have to get up from here. And Burnett let him get up. Good class act by Burnett.
Tony Mullinex making his UFC debut as our referee here in this lightweight matchup.
Burnett showing his good stand-up skill, good power punching. Nothing super flashy, but he gets the job done when those fists land. And this is where Saunders doesn't want to be, is in a boxing match, even though he just hit Burnett with the right hand. Nice counter by Saunders. Saunders says he needs to rely more on smarts. He can't go toe-to-toe with the youngsters like he used to do, he said about his wrestling. Certainly that's going to be true in mixed martial arts. You can't depend on youthful energy to overcome mistakes.
You could make an argument that the best training in the world takes place in the Lions Den. I said an argument. Don't light up the emails right now. But Mikey talks about the competition he faces every day in his workouts, as good as any competition he feels he will face inside the octagon.
And one other thing a wrestler has to learn to overcome is training has been lowered all the way down to 5 minutes, which is an international match. It's been bumped back up this year to 6 minutes. So you train your body to pour every ounce of energy in that 6-minute time frame. But in a mixed martial art contest, you have to extend it out 12, 15 minutes. And in doing so, that really is reconditioning your body. And that's a challenge.
Townsend fought through a tough period there, Jeff, and he looks to have his legs back again.
Yeah, certainly his eyes are clear. He looks as though he's focused in again on what he needs to do, not backing away, wondering what's going to happen next.
Don't stand there, don't stand there.
You mentioned the fact that Mikey Burnett, former powerlifting world champion for his weight class.
And that's where you see when Saunders shoots for the leg and Burnett sprawls and extends himself. That's literally a deadlift motion, really at an angle, at a diagonal, and he's so powerful at it and has all that wrestling experience from the Lions Den that unless Saunders really sets him up well, he's not going to be able to just pull Mikey Burnett's legs out from under him.
Almost connected again. Saunders ducks out of the way, but he's unable to shoot towards the legs. Burnett did a nice job of guarding against that. Now they are entangled, pushed up against the octagon fencing.
Not allowed to grab the fence and hold. Burnett driving Saunders in there, trying to find a way to get position. Saunders, couple of knees to the midsection of Burnett.
Remember some of the stringent rules here. No biting, no eye gouging, no fish hooking, no head butting, no hair pulling, no groin strikes, no small joint manipulation, no pressure point strikes, no elbows to the back of the head and neck, no kicking when a man is down. And a new one this year, no holding the fence. Molinax is checking to make sure Burnett isn't doing that. Listen to Ken Shamrock in the corner.
That toe touches, nail it. Now! Mikey, throw the knee. Mikey, the thigh is open. Thigh. Yeah.
There's the thigh.
Oh, nice combo. Nice combo. That's what we really need to see more of in the UFC. It's going from some leg attack, that knee, and then change to a punch. Going up and down using all the weapons.
Saunders told me today he has trained alone his whole life. He's always had support, don't get me wrong, but he went to 4 different high schools alone. And what a great corner Burnett has. Just the opposite with the support of the Lions Den.
As you know, Mike, as we see the Lions Den at each of these UFC events, they stay together like family.
Oh, man.
They train like family, and they love each other like family.
Townsend Saunders lost in the lightweight tournament. In battle in the Bayou to Pat Miletich, a split decision.
As did Mikey Burnett. So both of these guys have split decision losses to the champion.
The difference between this fight and the one in Brazil, this is a Burnett type of fight because it hasn't gone to the mat yet.
Not yet. And really, I don't think Mikey has to worry about on the mat. Certainly Saunders feels better down there for his offensive threats. But I think Saunders really has given up on shooting on Burnett. That last time he did it, he ate a lot of Mikey Burnett punches, and certainly that can change your attitude and cause some hesitation.
You said he's somewhat given up shooting. Why is that?
I think because of that last time he tried the shot, he wound up eating a lot of fist.
That would be a good reason. And again, he ducks away. Oh, that one delivered a left.
Don't count Saunders out. He's still fresh, still seems to have the poise about him. If he can get the Burnett's hips clean, he can invert Burnett and drop him. Saunders is explosive, but if he tries to keep it right here on the mat or on the feet, nice block. Saunders had the arm down, was able to catch that knee on the way up. Guillotine attempt by Burnett.
Now the corner yelling for Mikey Burnett to finish it. And they may have been referring to the attempt of a choke a moment ago. He kind of let go of it easily, did the combination with the knee and the shot from the arm, which was pretty good, but he may have wanted to dig in on that guillotine more so, in the opinion of his corner.
Looked like another right hand there by Burnett. There's that duck under that Saunders likes to use. Burnett matched his speed. Good quickness by Mikey Burnett.
Saunders able to avoid some mini tank jackhammers from Mikey Burnett. I remember asking Mikey, do you mind if we call you a little tank? He said, no, that's okay. I'm a Lion's Den fighter, first and foremost. But he is a tank-like fighter in his ability to punch with great power here in the lightweight division. Under 3 minutes remaining in regulation. 12-minute regulation, 3-minute overtime.
Nice combinations by Burnett. Saunders goes back and forth, but when he circles the way he is right now, not now, when he circles to his own right, that's the best move. Potential guillotine here, but Saunders, great power to get out of that. Saunders wants to circle away from Burnett's right hand. And this is where Greco might help, where you can just bull rush your opponent, tie up the upper body, and then look for some way to take him down. Saunders is looking for just a clean leg shot. Burnett has given him no opportunity.
Jeff, do you see a difference in Mikey Burnett from Brazil? And I base that on the inability of Saunders to shoot for the legs, where Miletich was able to achieve that at Ultimate Brazil last October.
Now, Burnett really was the one that spent most of the time in the top position against Miletich's guard. The one thing that's happening here is Mikey Burnett is free to move on his feet, free to punch, where Miletich took that all away with grabbing the shorts.
Under 2 minutes now. 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining in regulation.
It was a great tactic by Miletich, but you can't have shorts being pulled down to the knees in a UFC, and so the rule was put in. We've had it happen in the past, too. Takahashi and Ismail come to mind.
Burnett 1-1 in his UFC career. The TKO of Eugenio Taddeo last March here in New Orleans at 9:46. Saunders 0-1. The loss we spoke of earlier frequently to Pat Miletich. Time is ticking down here in regulation. Saunders a couple of jackhammering rights. Mikey says you got nothing.
Surprisingly, though, I'm looking at a wrestler going toe-to-toe with someone that's a good striker. Giving Saunders a little bit of success for being able to hang in there against Burnett. He's not running. Then again, he's just unable to turn the corner and get some angle to be able to lift those hips up. Burnett, great counter again. Saunders doesn't appear to be over fatigued. He's still able to move, still able to throw punches. Just not the kind of combinations that Burnett throws.
20 seconds left. Another left. Grazes the chin of Townsend Saunders. Saunders avoided some shaky legs for a moment. The horn sounds as the official time kept outside the octagon, and there will be a 1-minute break as the fighters regather themselves. Burnett clearly the more aggressive in this fight thus far. One thing he doesn't want to do, though, is leave a decision in the hands of the officials.
I'm telling you what, he don't want none, but I don't want you to slow.
You know, I didn't knock him out. I don't think about split decisions. You know, what's to think about him? 3 people's opinion. My opinion is I didn't knock him out. So what? So I lost. You know, I mean, if I don't knock this guy out, same thing. You know, I'm here to hurt people.
Well, he hurt his opponent Townsend Saunders early in the matchup. With 3 minutes now remaining.
Hey, don't give the overtime out. All right?
There you go. Exactly what I was thinking. Ken Shamrock said, don't give him anything in the overtime.
Certainly does not want to leave Saunders doing well with the judges going to the card, but it appears as though Burnett has dominated this fight up to now.
And then Saunders escaping in regulation time. Overtime underway. Mikey wants the knockout. I wonder if he'll go for it.
sometimes
It's a fine line, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Over-aggression can lead to mistakes, and Saunders is finally going to get a chance. Oh, Burnett! What a job! Wow! Saunders nodding his head saying that was damn good. Great counter by Burnett.
Mikey has told us before, I've developed into a fully skilled mixed martial artist, but I'm a wrestler at heart.
Certainly that was a tremendous sprawl, able to keep facing Saunders when he drove him in against the fence, and cat-like quickness to catch his feet before Saunders could really cover him and keep him down.
Remember the criteria of the officials if they are asked to render a decision. Aggressiveness, striking, and grappling. Burnett got hit that time. He smiles.
Oh, he knows it. He nodded to Saunders saying, that one you hit me.
Townsend has great quickness. So does Mikey Burnett. Both appear to be fresh still.
And you got to wonder, Saunders has really picked up his aggressive nature, nearly got a takedown, good right hand there, but still, over the whole course of the fight, Burnett is dominated. And there, Burnett goes for a clinch. That's what I thought Saunders would try to do, is tie him upper body, find some way to close move him and get to the hips. Try to pick him up.
Townsend, let's take him down.
But this is where Burnett and Greco-Roman wrestling help out an awful lot. Underhooks and controlling the upper body. He's now under Saunders, both of Saunders' arms, part of the double underhook. Has his hands locked, and if Saunders isn't careful, Burnett will bear hug him in, lift him, and drop him.
Knee to the head.
Last minute of the match.
If Saunders brings that head down too much, watch for that left knee of Burnett to come up. He's able to block the near leg, Burnett's right leg, but the left one, if he brings his head down, could connect.
Are you surprised that this has been on its feet the whole time, Jeff?
Yes, I am. I really thought Saunders would find a way to take Mikey Burnett down. And Burnett really using his power now to squeeze Saunders, trying to find a way to bring him down, but that fence is going to hold Saunders up as long as he stays close to it.
Burnett went for the left knee to the face of Saunders a moment ago and connected with Townsend Saunders.
Maybe a right knee now. Watch for a right knee by Burnett.
And time has expired. There's the horn. The official horn has sounded as the competitors show great sportsmanship. Mikey Burnett and Townsend Saunders, and once again Saunders going the distance. The knockdown by Burnett will probably be the difference when the judges render their decision.
Well, he dominated the striking throughout the regulation. At the end there, he's controlling a bit of the grappling action, but really no damage except for that one flurry by Burnett was obtained. Both of these fighters losing to lightweight champion Pat Miletich in a split decision. Both knew that a win here could set them up for a rematch. A good single leg by Townsend Saunders drives Burnett sideways, gets him into the fence, but cat-like quickness allows Burnett to attain his feet again, denies Saunders the takedown. Another look at that here. Good single to the outside by Saunders. He turns, gets angle, drives into Burnett, but Burnett able to keep his feet right there before Saunders could get on top of him and cover. And Burnett, as he stood, threw some good bombs towards Townsend Saunders as well. Good fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we must go to the judges' cards after one overtime for a decision. We have a unanimous decision for the winner, Mikey the East Side Assassin Burnett. Let's have a big hand for a very game opponent.
Mikey Burnett given a unanimous decision, probably based on that one good flurry where he got Saunders down and had him in trouble. Saunders able to regain form, composure, and finish the fight well, but Burnett was ahead on points. All three judges felt, and he is awarded the victor. Tough loss for Saunders. This is his second close fight against the top lightweights here at the UFC, Pat Miletich and Mikey Burnett. He was game, but just lacks a little bit of the offense he may need to put himself over as a champion. Again, a good performance by Townsend Saunders. Mikey Burnett, however, is the winner, and he puts himself right back in the middle of the lightweight championship picture. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with our winner.
Well, Mikey Burnett having some words with Free Betancourt and Ken Shamrock. Another victory for the Lions Den. Congratulations, Mikey.
Thank you very much. I want to say this, as I said before, I never consider it a true victory unless I knock him out. I thought I had him in the early going. Guy's a tough guy. You know, obviously he's been working on his boxing and stuff. He fought a great fight, but you know, I won him. You know, he couldn't take me down. And that's something I'm proud of. I thought about taking a shot, actually, I think I did. And I wanted to take him down. You know, I wanted to show everybody how well I can wrestle. Everybody goes, well, can you fight off your back?
Right.
I didn't have to.
Are you surprised by that, Mikey? Because we were a bit surprised that it never went to the ground. It was a boxing match almost for you, and that's your advantage.
You're right, you're right. Look who I work with, though.
Right.
I work with the greatest fighters in the world back home in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Everybody I work with is outstanding. You know.
We got one more mountain to climb, though.
We got one more mountain to climb, baby. It's not even about a belt, but I want to fight again against Miletich. This time, like Saunders fought me.
You know, it's interesting.
Fight me like that.
Ken's right behind you right now, very close to the Lions Den. Obviously, it's Ken Shamrock's Lions Den. He's been very active with you and Jerry getting prepared for this fight. What difference does that make in preparation?
Makes a great deal of difference. You know, in my opinion, Ken's the greatest UFC fighter ever. And the scary thing about that, he's even a better trainer. That's the scary part about it. I mean, he's always been with us. Everybody said when he went to WWF that he left. Not true. He was always there, you know. Lions Den's right here. It's nowhere else. I go home to Oklahoma. I got good people to work with.
No
and I mean, they're Lions Den people too. They don't fight, but they train me every day. I got my boxing trainers here right now. You know, we're going to be on top of the food chain.
Go enjoy it, Mikey.
Thank you.
I know you'll be in Jerry's corner later. We'll see Jerry Bohlander later in the show.
Definitely, and Mark Coleman.
No question about it. Mark Coleman also working out with Ken Shamrock recently. Mikey Burnett winning a unanimous decision here again tonight. He wins in the octagon, defeating Townsend Saunders.
And indeed, a very good victory for Mikey Burnett. Sets him back up, and here's some more footage there. That left hand that stunned Saunders and knocked him down. The real damage here in this fight, and really the only damage in this fight. Saunders game trying to get a takedown against Mikey Burnett. This was his best attempt, but before he could cover Burnett, they reached the fence. It allowed Burnett to get back to his feet quickly, and again, Burnett ended that sequence of counter with punches. Well, let's not forget, we have the road to the heavyweight title coming up. It'll start with Mark Coleman taking on Pedro. Rizzo, a great stunning victory with the knockout of Tank Abbott, and he actually knocked Abbott down 3 times on the way to that victory. Mark Coleman, one of our great champions with ground and pound. However, he had a stunning loss, a big loss to Maurice Smith, and then another loss to Pete Williams of the Lions Den, and Coleman is looking to get back into the heavyweight title picture, and he's going to have to do it now.
Well, the heavy hitters are ready to continue the road to the heavyweight title.
Well, this time around, I've been able to not worry about injuring the knee. I've trained 100% without worrying about getting hurt again, because if it happens, it happens. I've had some help from Ken Shamrock. He invited me down to the Lions Den, and the intensity he brought to the table was just what I needed. He showed me some things, and it worked out very well.
I think it will be a very hard fight. You know, Coleman, he's a champ. You know, he already got 3 belts. Has more experience than me, so I think it will be hard to beat him. You know, but I trained very hard for this. It will be a war.
Well, undoubtedly, Pedro Rizzo, extremely impressive at Ultimate Brazil in his knockout of Tank Abbott, the bad boy of the UFC. Another man who was extremely impressive, a former champion, Vitor Belfort. Vitor, Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you very much for you too.
You came here tonight.
Yeah.
With the thought of fighting. You're sitting with us. What's the story? What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Like I never had a chance to fight for the title yet, and I'm here for a reason. I spoke to Bob Meyervix, the promoter, and he's putting the fight me and Frank Shamrock in March. And I heard he don't want to fight in March, and I'm here to let him know I'm ready here. I'm waiting for him. You know, he said he said he's the best in the world in his weight, and I'm here to challenge him. He's not the best, and I want to take the proof in March. And if you don't fight me, Jerry Bohlander or Tito Ortiz, who won the fight, we're gonna fight, and who win the fight in March, we're gonna have the title.
So you're ready. You are willing and ready to fight Frank Shamrock.
I'm ready. I'm ready. You know, I'm training hard. I'm really in my way. You know, I just want to have a chance to come here in the octagon and prove again that Vitor Belfort is back.
Now you say that Shamrock, you know, needs to defend his title in March. He's been a very active fighter in the UFC.
No doubt.
He's been in a lot of shows. You feel that he's ducking you?
No, I don't know. I just want to have a chance, you know. Everybody, like last show, I don't think Joe Lober deserved more than me, you know. I won an ultimate fighting, you know. I won the tournament. I won the super fights, you know. I'm like Frank Shamrock, you know, the same. I think both deserve to fight each other. It's going to be a tough fight. I bet all the audience want to see that bout. You know, it's going to be exciting.
I want to see that bout, but Frank is our lightweight champion. He's beaten all comers up to now. You feel you're in line. You're the next.
What do you think? I feel.
I'll tell you what.
I'm sure.
We've got some pictures from Brazil which would support Vitor's argument that he should be next in line to fight for the middleweight championship of the world. This was impressive, Vitor. I know you were kind of wondering how you would come out. Take us through this Ultimate Brazil, the way you hammered your opponent.
Yeah, because I'm very fast and I'm quick. You see, he's coming to me, you know. I'm very relaxed, you know. I'm here waiting for him. I knew he would come. I train more grapple. I train more jiu-jitsu than boxing that time, you know. I have fast hands, you know. That's my talent, gift from God, I think.
You've had some problems in the past with health. Unfortunately, you weren't able to bring your best to the Randy Couture fight. How have you changed? How have you matured the last couple of years as a mixed martial artist?
I changed a lot of things, you know. First of all, I took care of my worm that I had, you know. And first I dropped the weights. You see how I'm fast. I'm much more faster now, you know. And my techniques, my friends, I'm being grapple, a lot of cardiovascular work. You know, I think in this weight for me is best. And I want to tell you guys, you know, after this fight in March, I'm gonna come back in heavyweight and I'm gonna try to fight one and fight another one. That's my goal, you know.
I have a question for you. It almost seemed when you got up after knocking De Silva out there that you were surprised. You kind of looked down and went, and it almost seemed like a rejuvenation of confidence within you.
Yeah, because
suddenly you were back.
No, because he's the kind of guy, a lot of people think he fought me and then I knock him out and fast, and he's not a good fighter. Let me tell you, he's the best fighter, one of the best fighters I ever saw. He's very aggressive, he can take a punch, and he can grapple, you know. And when I saw him on the ground, and I punched him, then I look in Brazil, in my country, and all the people from his, you know, I get excited, you know. I stand up and I didn't say anything bad word, just very happy and very like, I knew that would come back, but too fast, 24 punches in 7 seconds.
Yeah,
that's impressive for myself.
You know what? That was impressive, Vitor. No one has questioned that. I think that we should.
But that's what's happened. When I saw him, that's
right.
Wow.
You know what we should say? The interesting thing, though, is that may have been as impressive as you have been in the octagon, but Frank showed his punching power also. If you were to meet Frank Shamrock, and it would be a great middleweight championship bout, what will be the difference? What will be the key to victory for Vitor Belfort?
We got to fight in March for everybody to watch, you know. I'm going to prepare myself, and I'm going to try to do my best, and I hope, God, I can show the world I can do good in the day. You know, I don't know. He's a tough fighter, too, you know. Let's see. That's what I want. I want to fight. I'm a professional. He's a professional. He proved a lot. I prove a lot. Now's the time to two fighters, the best fighter in the world, to meet each other, you know. And I think March is a great date. 5 of March is a birthday of my friend and my sponsorship, the secretary of the sport in Brazil, Zé Moraes, you know. I just want to.
The belt would be a nice birthday present.
And the issue has been, the challenge has been issued.
Yeah, and two great champions. And Frank Shamrock has no record of ducking any fights to this date. And we have to respect Frank Shamrock, his victories, his ability. He had a scheduled conflict tonight. Frank probably watching at home, or he'll tape it. He heard what you said. I'm sure he'll have a reply
See you in
soon.
March, Frank.
There you go. We hope so. Vitor, thank you for joining us here tonight.
Thank you very much. See you guys. March.
Vitor Belfort, a great champion and ready to fight for the middleweight championship of the world. He wants Frank Shamrock. Much of the world wants that matchup between Vitor Belfort and Frank Shamrock. If that were not to happen, perhaps Jerry Bohlander would get his turn. Remember, as I told you earlier, Bohlander was scheduled to fight Vitor at Ultimate Brazil, but because of injury, Jerry could not do so. He's back in the octagon here tonight. Although he's only 24 years of age, few competing today have as much octagon experience as Lions Den fighter Jerry Bohlander. Whether it was 300-pounders or jiu-jitsu experts or Olympic gold medalist, Bohlander has risen to every challenge and has but one defeat alongside 5 UFC victories. He returns tonight to prove he's the #1 contender in the tough middleweight division. Tito Ortiz kicked off UFC 13 as the winner in the alternate bracket, and like so many alternates before, found himself in the main draw a few hours later. He faced Guy Metzger in the under 200-pound tournament final, and although he looked strong and controlled most of the fight early, fell prey to a guillotine choke, was forced to tap. He comes back to the octagon tonight with the loss still on his mind. The Huntington Beach bad boy, Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz, second UFC as we mentioned. Got into the main draw before losing to Metzger, had trouble early, has something to prove here tonight. John Lober in his corner along with John Spencer. Tito Ortiz credits his 4 older brothers for making him tougher. His high school wrestling coach was Paul Herrera, a friend of Tank Abbott's.
I got to wonder what Tank Abbott thinks of that moniker for Mr. Ortiz.
And Jerry Bohlander will be his opponent this evening as John McCarthy talks to Tito Ortiz. Lions Den fighter for the last 4 years, 24 years old. Impressively, 5-1 in the UFC. Both fighters are expecting to see a great bout tonight.
Probably try to pound me. That's, you know, he's a pretty one-dimensional fighter. Basically, I don't expect him to do any one thing. I mean, he could try any number of things, but you know what? I train with, like I said before, I train with the best fighters in the world. There's nothing that he could do that I can't counter. I mean, there's always a fluke that could happen, but you know what? The chances are small. So basically, I'm going in there with a win already.
Again, displaying the confidence of a Lions Den fighter that we spoke of earlier, Jerry Bohlander, his hometown of San Diego, California, born in Norfolk, Virginia, 24 years old, 5'11", 199 pounds. His training always emphasizes one's strengths as well as fixing one's weaknesses.
And that's certainly what he needs to do. He's a master of submission, well-rounded in his approach. And look for Mr. Bohlander as a product of the Lions Den to have a huge heart.
Tail of the tape for this, our middleweight fight, and perhaps it could be an advancement to a middleweight championship fight. Can Shamrock and Vitor Belfort perhaps in March? Bohlander and Ortiz knocking at the door. Only 1 year separates these two. 6'2", Tito Ortiz, 3 inches taller than Jerry Bohlander. The official introductions forthcoming from Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next fight is a middleweight fight beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a submission fighter and a UFC 13 veteran. He has a mixed martial arts record of 1-1. Standing 6 feet, 2 inches tall, weighing in at 199 pounds. Fighting out of Huntington Beach, California, please welcome Tito Ortiz. And his opponent, standing to my right, He is a submission fighter with a UFC record of 5-1. He is a veteran of UFC's 8, 11, 12, and 16. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 199 pounds, and he's fighting out of the Lion's Den in San Diego, California. Please welcome Jerry Bohlander.
So Tito Ortiz, whose high school wrestling coach, as I said before, was Paul Herrera, a friend of Tank Abbott's, a former sparring partner with Tank Abbott, set to take on the Lion's Den again and avenge perhaps his loss to Guy Metzger. We are set to get it underway inside the octagon to Big John McCarthy.
Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on.
Middleweight fight number 2 on the card tonight.
Watch for Ortiz. He wants to keep it on his feet. He's a good grappler. He can go down to the ground, but Bohlander is very comfortable, particularly on his back, looking for submissions.
Ortiz got caught in the guillotine. He says, I will never get caught in a guillotine again. This one does not stay on the feet very long. Half guard. Bohlander now applies the full guard.
Ortiz using his head to try to keep Bohlander pinned in against the fence. Bohlander trying to keep the space close, not allow punching room. But Bohlander goes inverted. This is what he loves to do. He'll roll right back on the back of his head, try to scoop Ortiz's head with his leg and look for arm bars.
How disruptive is that to an opponent?
Particularly when all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, and you want to go pulling out, it suddenly makes you hesitate. When you hesitate, you're not offensive.
Great athleticism and flexibility displayed by Jerry Bohlander to be able to do that.
Well, I'm sure Jerry would not want to be pinned up against the fence. I'm sure he would rather be facing towards the center of the octagon where he can scoot and move his hips. Here he really doesn't have any place to go because the one direction you can move in the guard is back, but he's got the fence in the way. He might be able to scoot to the side, but his first worry right here is defense against strikes from Ortiz.
Trying to gain a little position right there with a scoot to the hips, and Ortiz jams him back up against the fencing.
And you'd have to wonder if Ortiz is in Tank Abbott's camp, they don't train from the guard very much.
Well, he was a long time ago being a sparring partner. He has since had a falling out with Tank. Maybe it was over the moniker of Huntington Beach Bad Boy.
That might be, but now Ortiz trains with John Lober, who we've seen here at the UFC, who lost to Frank Shamrock at Ultimate Brazil.
He's really trained hard in submissions with Lober and Muay Thai fighter John Spencer.
Takes time to get fluid at those, though, and Burnett is fluid. And again, what's really helping Ortiz here is the fact they're up against the fence.
Tito Ortiz, born and raised in Huntington Beach, California. Jerry's strength has always been the groundwork. And he gets away from the fencing momentarily. Watch out for the neck, though.
Boy, that's tight, too. That is tight, too. Basically a head chancery, as we call it in wrestling.
Ortiz with the early advantage on Jerry Bohlander.
And he is rocking Bohlander. He is rocking Bohlander with uppercuts. Bohlander is in trouble. Ortiz using great combinations and aggressiveness to overwhelm UFC veteran Jerry Bohlander. And Ortiz is a huge middleweight. He is cutting 10+ pounds to make that 200.
Put his arm between your legs. He's gonna get your arm.
Bohlander at a disadvantage here early. Trying to work it around again. Tito Ortiz wants a victory over the Lion's Den. Bohlander, including the UFC, overall mixed martial arts, 8-2. He has only lost 2 times.
A couple of strikes, but it seems as though Ortiz has slowed down a little bit here. I wonder if that big flurry on the feet might have sapped him of a little bit of energy. He's measuring his punches here, but Bohlander's got his arms up, his legs up. There's not a lot really happening there in terms of damage.
On his opponent, Bohlander said, a good wrestler who likes to scrap. That has been the case so far.
And effectively scrapping so far. Certainly he has been the aggressor and he has dominated the action thus far. That one flurry on the feet certainly putting him ahead on the judges' card.
Well, Ortiz said coming in that he felt that he was superior with striking skills. They're standing it up. Nothing happening. This is an advantage to Jerry Bohlander. 4.5 minutes of an early disadvantage.
I'm not sure if this is an advantage for Bohlander, and I'm only going to say that, Mike, because it seems that Mike can't do anything to him on his feet, which means he wants to bring him back down to the ground. And if Ortiz is smart, he's going to try to keep Jerry up against the fence because Bohlander does not have room to move them.
Don't be powerful, nice and quick. Don't lead, wait for it.
You can hear Ken Shamrock again. Back-to-back Lions Den fighters in our third of 6 fights this evening. Thank you once again, our fans all over the world, for being part of UFC 18. We welcome our viewers back from Canada. We're in Japan live tonight, in Brazil, and across the United States of America.
And don't forget, we want to wish you a Happy New Year and make it even happier with the Ultimate Contest. Don't worry, we'll bring that back up, the information at the end of the show.
9-99, what a year it is going to be.
And 2 ringside seats along with air travel for our April show, the finals of the heavyweight, road to the heavyweight championship.
5:45 into this fight.
Nice combinations by Ortiz again.
Leg kick behind it, put a leg behind it.
There's the leg. It's amazing how disciplined these fighters are. They hear that voice of Ken Shamrock. They respond almost immediately, instinctively.
That's it, just like that. Right hand.
That right hand hits the side of the head of Jerry Bohlander.
And Ortiz doing a nice job of keeping it on the feet, picking his spots and when he wants to go ahead and throw punches. But he looks as though he's slowing down a little bit. Not quite as active with the hands.
Right hand leg kick, right hand. Lead with the right hand.
Again, the punching power of Tito Ortiz.
Those uppercuts are hitting Bohlander. Nice combinations by Ortiz.
Jerry closing the gap. Can he do anything with it, though, Jeff?
He wants to do it on the ground, but certainly it's going to be tough when he's pinned up against the fence. Right now, there he goes. He's facing the center now. Now he's got room to move. Nearly a rear naked. Nice job by Ortiz. Good job of moving around, keeping from that position of armbar, and now using knees to the head of Bohlander.
Remember, it was an armbar that finished Kevin Jackson when Bohlander fought here in March. He armbarred Jackson at 10-13. Now an attempted choke from his opponent.
Keep working, keep it working.
Knee to the head.
7.5 minutes gone. 12 minutes with a 3-minute overtime once again here in this contest.
If he lifts up, you throw the knee.
You hear Ken Shamrock saying if Ortiz elevates his head to get punching room, knee him.
If he lifts up, Joe, you follow that knee.
But it looks as though Ortiz has studied Bohlander. A couple of good elbow strikes there. Takedown now by Ortiz going after the ankles.
Shamrock telling Jerry to look for a choke. Now he's trying to get an arm.
Ortiz was working on the ankle of Bohlander, which is why Jerry really didn't uncork anything. He had to defend the ankle first. Now they're back in the guard.
Relax, Jerry.
It's amazing for a split second, Jeff, how 2 competitors can be going for their own submissions at the same time.
That's this wonderful game we call mixed martial arts.
Simultaneous submission attempts in a split second.
Let's go.
Jerry, get your head down. Get your head down, Jerry.
Ken Shamrock telling Jerry to get his head down. It's tough for him to be able to do that with his neck cranked on the fence in front of us. Jerry and Ken obviously both know that.
Watch the head.
Trying to spin around and get off the fencing to be able to do that. 9 minutes now in the books.
You've got to regroup and get back in the
Fatigue now is going to play a big part, Mike. We have 3 minutes, basically 2:45 left in regulation. If it's not over then they go 3 minutes overtime. So now it's coming down to who wants it more, who's conditioned their body more, and who is going to keep from making that big critical mistake. Ortiz has been in control. I think he has shocked many people with his performance here in the standing position, good striking combinations, and then he's educated himself in countering Bohlander's armbar attempts from the guard. Here's a wrestler that is going out and learning submission skills, jiu-jitsu, and positioning.
Stand it up. Let's move it. Stand
They're
up.
standing up at exactly the 10-minute mark.
Stay in this fight.
Ortiz doesn't need to panic in that top position. He knows that I don't mind being on my feet. It's Bohlander who's on the ground wanting to try submissions, and Ortiz has negated every one of them.
Jerry really hasn't put Tito in a bad position yet in this fight. Ken Shamrock saying it is mental at this point. When you're tired, that is when you are susceptible to making a mistake.
And Ortiz at 23 is showing tremendous composure for just his second time in the octagon. Here's someone that has learned a big lesson from his first appearance and has gone back, trained, and look at the product now. Much improved, effective, and efficient. He's not getting tired.
1 minute remains here in the regulation time period.
Hey, you gotta want to win the fight, Jerry.
Bohlander, half guard.
And once again, Jerry's first move here is to keep Ortiz close, and I'm sure Ortiz knows he's ahead. He doesn't have to struggle too much on top. Doesn't need to take any risk. That's the biggest thing. By taking risk, you give your opponent an opportunity.
You're doing good, Jerry. Come on,
You gotta pick it up right now. You gotta try something right now.
Shamrock.
I want you to pull it up and do something.
That's Kenny Shamrock.
What a presence in the corner.
Advising Bohlander. We're down to 15 seconds here in regulation. He wants Bohlander to try something here, but Bohlander looks like he's ready to just wait it out, not absorb any damage. Those punches, though they may be striking a little bit, really aren't doing anything. They're just more of a nuisance.
right there. We're going. We're going. You got 1 minute. Back to the corner. No time. No time.
Fighters will take a minute break before starting the overtime. An effective regulation period by Tito Ortiz. Seems composed. He's listening to his corner, listening to the advice, getting him prepared. Here, looking out early. Nice takedown. Ortiz gets into the body of Jerry Bohlander, lifts him up, brings him down to the ground. Another nice takedown, same effect. Double underhooks, and he just twists Bohlander and slams him to his back. Hits him with a strike there as well. And then from within Bohlander's guard, picking his spot, big right hand coming down, nailing Jerry Bohlander flush. Ortiz effective. Bohlander looking for an answer. Has not been able to get his ground game on track. Ortiz doing a good job from within the guard to negate any submission hold. And I really think it's been an effective tactic to keep Bohlander up against the fence so he doesn't have room to move around in transition to submission holds. Both of these fighters know a victory here puts them in this hunt for a middleweight championship opportunity. And Ortiz again getting an opportunity to strike, throws a good right hand at Bohlander again. Doesn't have quite the horsepower he did early in being able to take Bohlander down. Oh, a left hand, a right hand by Ortiz. Bohlander now, you can sense the urgency in his motion, but this is where Ortiz now can go ahead and relax and let the fight come to him. He's ahead. He's in a good position. He knows what Bohlander wants to do for submission. He'll pick his spots and strike.
Remember Petey Williams and the adjustment he made in Mobile, Alabama for the overtime period against Mark Coleman. Just a thought, the discipline of a Lions Den fighter.
The Williams came out and struck, and Bohlander did that, but he never got away from Tito Ortiz's double underhook spare hug, and he finds himself back down on the ground, and Ortiz is just going to kill time here. He's going to kill some time. He feels he's ahead. He can control the action, keep from getting hit from Bohlander, and every now and then try to deliver a shot.
Halfway now through the overtime period. Ken Shamrock saying, I want you to listen to my voice.
Watch for a left hand
out of there. Jerry's got to make a move here.
He's got his hand tied up, trying to sink a punch or two by. Bohlander, good counter. He's also got a cut above the left eye.
You're going to have to make up your mind.
Now is the time for Jerry Bohlander. Perhaps the winner of this fight could meet Vitor Belfort, but the door is wide open as always for our honorable, respectable, wonderful middleweight champion Frank Shamrock to defend his title.
Shamrock, a great champion, stunning in his latest victories, just a tremendous athlete. He's moved himself so far in the mixed martial arts world. And Bohlander's cut's going to get looked at.
29 seconds unofficially remaining here in the overtime period as the doctor, Richard Istrico, and our veteran cut man, Leon Tabbs, comes into the ring, and Ortiz has a huge smile on his face.
He senses it. He senses it. He's sensing it. It appears as though that cut is bad.
Well, I heard one of the doctors or Leon say it's too close to the eye. We have never had a serious injury in the history of the UFC.
How much time's left, Doc? How much time's left? How much time we got?
29 seconds remain. You hear everyone trying to wonder how much time is left as they attend to Jerry Bohlander.
Ortiz has landed some good punches thus far, but it appears to have been a forearm right there. Quick, short, powerful forearm that opened up that cut. Another good view of it right there, and that's when the blood started. It appears as though the cut is bad, and they're going to end the fight, Mike.
It is over. Tito Ortiz, and he fires the shotguns towards the Lions Den corner. Ortiz victorious. I don't know if you would deem it an upset or not, but based on experience, I suppose you could use that word.
This word, I'm going to use the word. This is an upset.
The upset of Jerry Bohlander.
Very game, Tito Ortiz. Good class sportsmanship here at the end.
For the official decision, here's Bruce Buffer.
We have a winner at 2 minutes, 31 seconds of the overtime. The doctor had to stop the fight due to a cut to Jerry Bohlander. For the winner, Tito Ortiz.
And there you go, Ortiz accepting the victory. Again, a congratulatory handshake from Jerry Bohlander. I'm sure he said, we'll meet again sometime. But for Tito, big moment here, and he's walking around the octagon enjoying himself, as he should. Great performance by this youngster, just his second time in the octagon, and one would have to think we're going to see him again. For the Lions Den, a tough loss. Jerry Bohlander close to all the members of the Lions Den, and they share their feelings of victory along with their feelings of pain. Mike Goldberg is with Tito Ortiz. Mike?
Tito, congratulations. When the fight was over, you gave the shotguns, you gave the pistols towards the Lions Den. Was that for the redemption, or would that have been your reaction to a victory over any opponent?
I don't know. I caught his ass on fire. How's that?
Yeah, it was a good fight, a fight in which you were able to do, I believe, what you wanted to. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I came in here 110% mental, That's about 100% of this game. The rest is physical. That comes with it. Professional fighter, you need to train like a professional fighter.
No question about it. Going up against the Lions Den again, Tito, and I know you were disappointed in the outcome against Guy Mezger. You thought you had won that fight early. Was that part of the motivation for tonight's matchup?
Yeah, no. I mean, actually, I only trained for like 4 months when I fought Guy Mezger. I mean, it's kind of a new thing for me, and now that I got my feet wet in this, so I've been training hard for this. I knew I'd be able to take him more physical, mental, the more than he is, so I worked hard for it. You guys see my outcome that happened.
You guys have a great division, the middleweights. Undoubtedly, Jerry Bohlander, a great fighter. You defeated him tonight. Vitor Belfort, Frank Shamrock, perhaps in your future. Your thoughts?
I like to fight for the title. I don't care who I fight. I just want to come in here and fight and give the fans something to come watch out here. I mean, I like to get it for pay-per-view for everybody. I mean, in California, it's kind of hard for a lot of my friends to come see it, like in Huntington Beach for the cable companies. People try to say that this is a lot worse than boxing. I don't know, you tell me 12 rounds of punch someone in the head compared to guys fight 4-3 minutes. The difference, guys are just so conditioned to watch boxing as just a natural thing. This is so new. That's the only reason that people see it more of a kind of cannibal style of fighting.
Congratulations. Once again, you have great competitors in your corner.
All right, thanks a lot. I'd like to thank Ron Hatkins from Spanky's, 25 Company, LA Boxing at Huntington Beach, and one more. It's my girlfriend, Kristen Nice, for you, baby.
Congratulations. Tito Ortiz victorious impressively over Lions Den fighter Jerry Bohlander. Jeff?
Well, that's the Huntington Beach bad boy. And there he shoots down the Lions Den, revenging that loss to Guy Mezger. He holsters his pistols, and hopefully we'll see him draw him again at the UFC. Don't forget later the road to the heavyweight champion, Boss Rutten and Tsuyoshi Kosaka. Promises to be a great fight, a classic striker versus grappler matchup. And Boss Rutten comes in there highly toted, tremendous striker. And to give you an idea, look at these kind of leg kicks. How would you be this guy, like to be this guy trying to absorb these? The only thought on my mind would be make sure that pad stays between me and that leg. Rutten known for his ripping kicks and his palm heel strikes in pancrase, and now with a closed fist, he can be that much more dangerous in the UFC.
Well, the UFC, this is the first of 9 in 99, as I have set off in this evening. We will once again revisit you Friday, March 5th for UFC 19, our 23rd event, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. The Middleweight Championship will be contested on a later date, and that evening, the road to the heavyweight title will culminate. That coming up later this year on UFC 19. One of the men who is very, very integral in making it all happen is ringside with us again tonight. On side of the octagon, John Peretti, our great matchmaker, 3 for 3 again tonight, starting 99. Surprised at all the way that Ortiz was able to dominate Jerry Bohlander?
Yeah, I was really surprised. I thought he was in good shape, but I thought he should have disengaged a little more, and he would have gotten it done a little better.
You know, it's interesting, John. We talk about the road to the middleweight title, and I don't know if it's an official challenge, but certainly Frank Shamrock sits at home today. Vitor Belfort wants Frank Shamrock. Do you see that fight in the foreseeable future?
I guess that depends on Frank. You know, if Victor wants him, you know, and Frank wants to fight, well, it can easily happen. But look, you got Tito Ortiz in here now making things happen.
The depth of a lot of these fighting categories, lightweight, heavyweight, middleweight tonight, how difficult is it? What is the proving ground that someone has to display to you and SEG to be considered to compete inside the octagon?
Well, they clearly have to be someone that has won in a lower division, has fought people I know. It has to make sense. You have to be beating other guys, and that's very important. And you have to travel around and see these guys. You can't just sit in your own sandbox in your backyard and expect to win.
Road to the heavyweight title continuing, Jeff. And Jeff, a former heavyweight himself, I know it's one near and dear to your heart. You and John have talked about it. I mean, this is a great couple of matchups we have forthcoming in the heavyweight division, both you guys.
Well, Coleman and Rizzo right away, looking at it from my point of view, I'm looking at somebody like Rizzo, dominated the striking against, UFC veteran Tank Abbott, knocking him down 3 times. And Mark the Hammer Coleman having 2 tough losses. Maurice Smith, Pete Williams, he's now back. But the question will be, is it going to be the old Mark Coleman or a new Mark Coleman? Do you have any thoughts on that, John?
You know, training with Shamrock, I hope it's a new Mark Coleman. I hope Mark learns to block leg kicks I hope he learns to deal with a true kickboxer. And so far, we haven't seen wrestlers do that very well.
Well, I'd like to think some wrestlers can do it pretty well there, John. Certainly martial artists have been doing it much longer. But do you think Rizzo has the ability to stop the ground and pound of Mark Coleman?
Clearly.
It's going to be an interesting contest. Do you think Coleman can weather the kind of striking ability that Rizzo possesses?
I hope he can, because he's a strong guy, and he deserves to do that.
Well, you deserve continued credit for putting together great matches, and undoubtedly, it's not just us who have this opinion, who are fortunate enough to broadcast the UFC. It's the best fighters around the world who will tell you, to a man, the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts is the UFC. Keep up the big work. Lots of fights to get full of in 1999. John Peretti, our matchmaker, coming
Great
up.
job, John.
The road continues to the heavyweight title. It will be a good fight later on between Pedro Rizzo and Mark Coleman. Actually, that's Laverne Turner, but it will be Mark Coleman and Pedro Rizzo later tonight. From July 1996 to July 1997, Mark the Hammer Coleman was the premier mixed martial artist in the world. 3 UFC titles, a perfect 6-0 record. There were many that thought he would never be beaten. That all changed at UFC 14 when Maurice Smith shocked the world. Disappointment continued 1 year later. Petey Williams victimizing the Hammer. Tonight, he wants to silence the naysayers. Pedro Rizzo has only appeared in the UFC once, but what a fight it was. Rizzo did what many said could never be done. He beat Tank Abbott at his own game. The Brazilian drove Abbott to the mat twice from strikes before laying the deciding blow flush on the cheek at the 8-minute mark. Abbott went down like a ton of bricks, and Rizzo became an instant hero in Brazil. Tonight, he comes to the U.S. for the first time, bringing his act to New Orleans. Pedro Rizzo told me when we were in Brazil a few months ago, it has always been his dream to fight in the United States of America. Born in Rio de Janeiro, fighting out of that fine city where our good friends will host another UFC in 1999. His hero, he has said it over and over again, Marco Pujas. He started training with Marco at age 14. He says simply, Marco is the best. Pedro's not bad himself, Jeff.
Oh, absolutely not. With that victory over Tank Abbott, he certainly opened everybody's eyes, including John Peretti's, about his talent, his skill, and he's a youngster. This guy's got a lot of room and a lot of growth to improve. I really think he's an up-and-comer, but he's up against a tough one. He's going to be really challenged early because the history of Mark Coleman is he's a sprinter. And the big question is, has he learned to control that burst of energy?
Here he is again, a 6-2 record, the former UFC World Heavyweight Champion. Mark the Hammer Coleman knows what to expect tonight from Rizzo.
Pedro Rizzo's an excellent all-around fighter. He comes from Brazil, and all Brazilians have a big, strong heart, so there'll be no quitting in him. So I'm going to have to take him out. And that's the plan, get him on the ground and pound him into submission just like before.
It has been said before, in fact, before the last fight that Mark Coleman participated in. Failure is the greatest time of learning or the time in which you quit. Coleman won't quit. He's back again for another try tonight.
Listening to Mark Coleman, normally when he does an interview, he's all, I'm going to go, I'm going to do this. And this time he was very respectful. And the one thing I remember about Burnett is when he tried out for the Lions Den, he said, my ego got torn down. And I wonder if those couple weeks with Mark Coleman taught him to put his ego aside, learn as much as you can, and prepare so that you improve.
He feels like he's healthy for the first time in a year and a half. Mark the Hammer Coleman, a former champion. A Pan Am Games gold medalist, 10 years older than Pedro Rizzo. Could that be a factor? 6 pounds heavier. Coleman Rizzo as we continue our highly publicized road to the heavyweight championship. Official introductions forthcoming.
The road to the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World continues with our next bout. Beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a Vale Tudo expert and 4-time Brazilian Muay Thai champion. He has a mixed martial arts record of 7-0. He is a veteran of Ultimate Brazil, standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 229 pounds. He comes to us all the way from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Please welcome Pedro Rizzo. And his opponent, who is no stranger to the octagon. He is a freestyle wrestler with a UFC record of 6-2. He is a former national champion, a Pan Am Games champion, an Olympic team member, and former UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Standing 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 235 pounds, and hailing from Columbus, Ohio, please welcome Mark the Hammer Coleman.
There is a bit of crossover of camps here. Mark's opponent tonight, Pedro Rizzo, works out with Mark Kerr, a friend and sometimes training partner of Mark the Hammer Coleman. Heavyweight road continues. Here's Big John.
Okay, here we go, gentlemen. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
Here we go!
Guys.
Mark Coleman in search once again of redemption.
And it's the wrestler against the martial artist here. Look for Coleman to go to his bread and butter, and that's ground and pound. Good takedowns, and then operating from within his opponent's guard to strike.
Coleman, as we had said before, with Frank Shamrock in his corner.
Pedro's got to keep his hands up nice and high and box. He'll never kick in this distance because Mark expects that stuff. You see that?
And there's that power of Coleman. Good speed too.
Be patient, Mark.
Be patient. The first thing that comes out of his mouth. You said before, Jeff, Mark Coleman has always been a sprinter.
Be patient, Mark. Relax.
It's a nice short forearm there.
It's always in Mark Coleman's mind that he can run out of gas. He's run out of gas twice. That's constantly on his mind.
Force the fight, Mark. Relax.
And I'm somebody that believes if you're born a sprinter, that's what you do. And Mark Coleman is a tremendous sprinter. He is so tough early in the fights.
There's a Ken Shamrock technique right there. He's taught him that.
Very nice with that short forearm again. Rizzo tying up Coleman's right arm effectively there. Coleman doesn't seem to be able to pull it out.
Totally different opponent here tonight in Mark Coleman than Tank Abbott for Pedro Rizzo.
Yeah, this is a completely different style. There's another Ken Shamrock, one leg up, one down. That's a classic Ken Shamrock. The elbows from the inside. They've schooled him.
Rizzo doing a nice job within the guard, John.
Well,
tying up the arms.
I think it's easier for a really strong stand-up fighter to learn grappling.
Mark did have to deal with the battle with hypoglycemia. He now has a good doctor. He was unaware of the problem he had had before. He's also totally rehabbed the knee that kept him out of a couple of competitions.
And he won't hurt the knee staying in this position. It's only if he gets kicked.
Rizzo doing a very good tactic here, turning himself back in towards the center so he can't get pushed up against the fence and have nowhere to go. Here now, he always has movement trying to extend away from Coleman.
Ken Shamrock, very distinct with his instructions to Coleman. There's the elbow in short. Shamrock just called for it. Rizzo's corner meantime. Marco Rujas, his hero.
Come on, get your position. Let's go.
One thing I've noticed, though, here is Coleman has not done anything to try to beat the guard. He's just trying to beat the arms and strike from within it.
But his pressure's different. He's using one hit to move onto one leg now when the guard opens. He's never done that before.
No, it seems as though he has been picking up some skills as to how to operate from within it without burning up tremendous amounts of energy. Certainly being up on your toes the whole time engages your entire leg muscle, and that's going to burn a lot more energy than taking a knee and only having one leg up for balance.
He's He's taken a lot of shots, but you know, he's a kickboxer and he takes a lot of shots. He's kind of used to that.
And well versed in the guard with his jiu-jitsu background, but he has worked more, as you said, in the Muay Thai in the kicking and kickboxing areas, right, John?
He's really a lutte livre guy. A lutte livre guy is a guy who fights against Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys. And look, Mark Coleman right now has got a really nice little, what's that called, the cradle?
That right there is just a half Nelson, but if he keeps driving that leg up, it's literally the same kind of pressure as a cradle.
6-2 record, 5th UFC for the Hammer. One of the most popular champions in UFC history.
You guys have all these great names for things. That's a nice part.
They come up with them. We just used it.
I wonder how much patience John McCarthy is going to have for this position.
Well, it depends on how active Coleman stays. If he stays active, John will let it go. But if he sits back and tries to relax and take his time and becomes less effective at striking, that's when you're going to see McCarthy stand. But Mark Coleman continues to move. I don't know about these rapid punches to the side there, John. Do you think they do any good at all?
Well, what they do is they bring Rizzo's hand down to protect him, and then he gets the top shot. He's going to go 2 under over the top. 2 under over, that's what he's done continuously here.
Marcus said before on the Perils of Fame, I handled it poorly. I used all the attention, and it went to my head. Everybody was telling me I was the greatest. Something an experienced fighter should never let happen. To him, he says now the best thing that could have happened to him was losing, because he was on the road to nowhere, which is just what John McCarthy considered there. They weren't going anywhere, so he stands them up 5 minutes in.
And now we have to look at Mark Coleman and take a look at him and see how his energy output is going to be affected here mid-match. We know he has it in the beginning, but it's been his deficiency that's been his downfall when it comes to cardio.
Watch it, he's separating his legs. Now you got to be really careful here for Coleman, because he could lead with the low kick or the high kick and then follow with the right hand. See, Rizzo's aggressive now. You see how tight he is?
Moving in, yeah.
Mark's mouth is open.
Coleman.
Sugar Ray Robinson left.
And that backed Rizzo up. And now he's a little bit more apprehensive about putting his head in front of Coleman. But like you said, John, I'm sure he's been struck a lot. This is really new territory for Mark Coleman coming out here.
Aggressive with the strikes.
In the mid-match area, time-wise, and being effective with it.
Marcus is striking really well, but he's getting into a closer range, and he's lowering his hands. This is going to be Pedro Rizzo firing something very cute.
Pedro still a lot of bounce in that step.
He's in good shape. He's bigger than he was.
I wonder if Coleman's going to look for another takedown, but this is where also Coleman's been vulnerable. The leg kicks, particularly to his left leg.
That is what happened when he was upset by Maurice Smith in Birmingham in UFC 14, one of the most shocking upsets in UFC history.
Don't be shocked here by the counter right.
Nice right hand there. You caught it, John.
Small cut over Rizzo's left eye. But the hands of Coleman are getting lower and the mouth is opening up. Now watch that high right kick. It's because I see him separating his legs now.
Getting the inside of a former kickboxer and matchmaker of the UFC, John Peretti.
Now Coleman trying to wrench the neck. And they split up again.
He's tired. Yeah, his hands are going to his knees. Classic position for Mark Coleman. You've seen it before.
12-minute regulation period, you guys.
Watch that right leg come high.
He actually lifted his leg, though. Coleman lifted his leg to absorb that shot.
They said they were going to work on leg checks. I'm surprised Pedro's not really picking at him now.
What's the mental state of Pedro Rizzo now? Does he feel like he has an advantage on his opponent?
Yeah, he's coming in tighter and harder. He's going to try to scramble. He did get wrapped up, though. He doesn't want to be there again, that's for sure.
Coleman has it back where he wants it.
It's a nice technique that Pedro uses. You see him swim inside the arm. That stops him from getting hit with the elbow, and he can stay around it then.
Good point there. We call that inside position in wrestling, hooking your arm to the inside. keeps that limb from being able to come down. Once again, you saw it there.
You were talking about the hands lowering for Coleman a moment ago before we got back into ground and pound. That is one of the main things he has been trying to work on, keeping the hands up. He withstood what seemed to be a period of time in which he was a bit fatigued.
He's trying to work him to the corner, but he's getting tired. Look at his coloration.
He's definitely a sprinter, always has been. However, he's worked hard to try to conserve energy and pace. But it's awful hard when you're built one way to try to perform another.
3 minutes remains. Mark Coleman and Ken Shamrock have the same wrestling agent. That is how they came together for their training. Rizzo said he knew that this would be the hardest fight of his life because Coleman has to win after those 2 devastating losses to Pete Williams and Maurice Smith.
He's doing a very good job here. He's doing what he wants to do. If he hooked that arm through the back of his head like that, he'd have no defense on his left side.
Nickname in Holland for Pedro is The Rock.
He tried that earlier, John, tying up a hand so he could have a free opening to rain some punches down. But Rizzo doing a terrific job here against Coleman, tying him up. Mark's really not being able to get lots of strikes through, just one here and there.
Yeah, I don't have much patience for that. I don't know how much John McCarthy has, but it's interesting what Rizzo's doing now. He's staying underneath. See, his arms are underneath. He can go to the back that way, too. I don't know if that's intentional.
I wonder if also it's putting Coleman's hands down, which means to catch himself, which means you can't punch while they're grounded, and it also takes energy to hold you up.
Yeah.
Now, pride for your country being displayed right outside of the octagon here. Vitor Belfort isn't sitting far from us, and he is speaking in their native tongue of Portuguese to Pedro Rizzo, trying to support his fellow countryman. What a night in Brazil it was for both of those guys.
Check out the Coleman's left leg.
Yeah. They stand him up again. There are some welts on the left leg of Mark Coleman, similar to those displayed in the fight against Maurice Smith.
A little darker in tonality.
Don't take those leg kicks.
And Ken Shamrock is saying, take him down. Don't even wait to trade punches. Take him down.
1 minute remains. And then a 3-minute overtime would follow. A different hammer, you guys. Both intently watching the match. Try it again. A different hammer, you guys.
It looks like he's improved a lot under the wisdom of Ken Shamrock.
Hands are down now.
I'm really waiting for this big right over the top because it just looks like it's coming. Oh, he dropped his hands. You see that? He drops his hands like that. Pedro should really, that's opportune for him.
This is a long one for Mark Coleman. It appears to be heading to overtime unless we have a shocker like the Pete Williams situation. The final seconds tick away.
Do you think Rizzo's wasting opportunity here, John?
Clearly. I think that right high kick should have come already because he's a sucker for it when he drops his hands. Take him off the top.
And Coleman, someone that has had trouble defending against leg kicks. And there you can see the welt. Coleman's leg from those kicks. Something similar to what Muhammad Ali went through against Antonio Inoki when those two fought over in Japan.
Gene LeBell was the referee.
There you go. Famous name in judo here in this country. Mean Gene LeBell. And I love his little patch. Break a leg means have a nice day. Let's watch for that Coleman right hand here. He was able to land one. A couple of lefts set it up. And there's that flurry. Trading some punches, and again, that leg kick from Rizzo, but very effective.
Just not enough from Rizzo.
I agree.
With that in mind, in your guys' opinion, who's ahead going into the overtime?
I think Coleman is slightly ahead.
I agree.
So Mark Coleman has 3 more minutes to withstand. He was well ahead of Pete Williams, don't forget. Lost at 38 seconds of overtime. the big right foot. He lost the decision going the distance with Maurice Smith. Those were his last two fights. Overtime has not been nice to Mark Coleman in his UFC career.
If Rizzo can put forth his will and dominate these 3 minutes, he could steal the fight.
Rizzo just has to fake the low right kick, and Coleman will block it.
Coleman kick!
It's a playing into the wrong game here.
Certainly is.
It's really silly at this point in time, especially.
It's a high kick, Shamrock says. Keep your hands up.
Shamrock knows the potentiality of a big high round kick right now.
This is about the spot in which it happened. 38 seconds has now passed. That's when Petey hurt him.
And Coleman now moving forward.
Rizzo has to use his right leg more. He has to. He's singular in his use. Low round kick, he's got to throw a high kick.
And just as Coleman started going forward, he's now retreating back to the fence.
A stiff left jab in Coleman's right side of his mouth.
Does Rizzo know deep down in his heart that he's behind and he has to try something soon?
Absolutely. Look at the scramble just to stay up. Now that made Coleman very tired.
Certainly that's a big burst of energy to try to absorb.
Don't get lazy, Mark.
Uh-oh, a couple delivered, a couple shots landed on Mark the Hammer Coleman.
Mark, don't do that. He's going to check your shin. Coleman, all you got to do is take him down.
You hear Shamrock say he's going to high kick you?
Yep.
I totally agree.
All you got to do is take him down. There's the arms momentarily.
I don't know why Coleman doesn't bull rush, tie the upper body up, and then go for the legs.
Frank agrees. I mean, Ken agrees.
He's trying just the straight double leg shoot, and it's not working.
1 minute remaining, and it's time for Pedro Rizzo. There it is, guys. He couldn't hold on to it again, though. Rizzo right back up. Caught him a bit with the knee, though. 50 seconds.
Very good, Mike.
Too little, too late for Pedro Rizzo, I think.
Unless perhaps he can score a knockout. It's been done before.
It just seems Rizzo can't put his will forward enough to dominate. Coleman able to at least get a punch in or two, and Rizzo backs off.
God, this is shades of Maurice Smith here. Refusal to finish.
There's the first time that really Coleman got caught sideways with that kick.
Just got to hold off 15 more seconds if you're Mark Coleman. Rizzo's got to go.
And Rizzo just isn't coming forward enough to earn this. I'm not sure. It's a close fight. But I think it's going to be Coleman here. And that's going to do it.
Huge mistake by Pedro Rizzo.
Good job, dude. Good job.
Pedro Rizzo, Mark Coleman continuing the road to the heavyweight championship. Coleman walks to the other corner, and Marco Huas. And the Lions Den already plotting if perhaps Coleman has won for the next competition.
Tough fight. Tough fight.
Jeff, how different was Mark Coleman than he was in his past two defeats?
It still seemed as though fatigue was catching up with him, but he seemed to catch a second wind. He was able to perform throughout overtime, but part of that just seemed to be Rizzo just never got his offense going. I think if Rizzo were able to really come after him and apply more pressure with kicks, maybe try that high kick, that might have been the difference.
And John, you said shades of Maurice Smith with Rizzo not going for the finish.
Clearly. That's big left hand. He sets up for a big, now he should have come with the high kick right over the top again.
A beautiful sequence of punches followed up with a good strong leg kick there, but as you said, was it too little too late?
Well, the judges will render the decision. Here is Bruce Buffer.
In overtime, we go to the judges' cards for a decision. We have a split decision, beginning with Judge Eddie Goldman, who calls it Rizzo. Dr. Tim Catalfo calls it Coleman. And and referee Judge Dave Meltzer calls it for the winner on his way to the heavyweight championship, Pedro Rizzo.
And a decision for the Brazilian, Pedro Rizzo. And a stunned Mark Coleman walks around the octagon. He thought he might have had enough to do it, but it's this youngster that impressed the judges. Some great striking to Coleman's leg using kicks. Left jab, right by Rizzo here. Coleman faking the shot, and it was those kinds of punches picking at Coleman that must have earned Rizzo the victory. Coleman with a couple of takedowns, but never any real powerful shots. Rizzo with some good leg kicks, John Peretti. What do you think of the decision?
I have a hard time looking at it. You know, it's I don't think he did enough. But then there's no draws in the UFC. You know, we got a kickboxer who throws a really small amount of kicks and doesn't use what he has. You know, and he got tied up pretty nicely. You know.
Well, Mike Coleman is with a victorious Pedro Rizzo. Mike.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Pedro, congratulations. It was a very, very close match, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very hard. Coleman was in good shape, and he's very strong. You know, so at the beginning of the fight, I felt a little bit my condition, but I was good. I turned hard, so that's why I could do a good fight.
Were you confident you were going to get the judge's decision, or were you concerned?
I didn't know because it was a close fight, how do you say? But I was thinking that I could win, so I fight for win. I always fight for win. I always fight for knockout. But today I couldn't. But no problem. The most important that I win, and I want to give this fight to my parents.
Your parents, and also I know your camp, your hero, Marco Hujas, and it seemed like you were in trouble early, that ground and pound of Mark Coleman, but with great courage you withstood the early pressure.
Yeah, Marco teach me everything to stay in all the positions, you know. So Marco teach me how I have to do when I'm on the bottom, when I got on top. So I did what Marco teach me. You know?
Another win for a Brazilian. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the SAG to give me this opportunity, and I hope to come fight more.
You will be back again. Pedro Rizzo victorious again tonight. Pedro, thank you. And he'll have a chance at the heavyweight belt as he continues and advances. First tank, now the hammer. Rizzo wins again.
Well, certainly a very close fight there. The Brazilian, Rizzo, coming out victorious, and he will continue on the road to the heavyweight championship. And you heard him thank person that he's held as a hero his whole life, Marco Hujas. And again, with the road to the heavyweight championship, later on, the last fight of the evening, it will be Boss Rutten against Tsuyoshi Kosaka. And that too promises to be a great grappler striker matchup.
Well, for all the continued updates as we continue on the road to the heavyweight championship, and see you again in March. Check us out on the web at www.seg.com. Joe Silva and the crew at SEG do a wonderful job always updating the information on the web. We have reviews of past fights, bios of the fighters, potential matchups in the future, and as always, you can also view the UFCs live on the internet. For more information, check out www.seg.com. And don't forget, Jeff, we had talked about it earlier tonight for the ultimate prize coming up later. You can do that by emailing your letter to seg.com. Lightweight championship is ahead on the card now. Pat Miletich and Jorge Patino, the Croatian sensation, defending his lightweight title for the first time. The Croatian sensation, disciplined in so many categories, it would take too long to list them. And Patino, the Brazilian, his nickname Macaco, which means monkey. He was born in Brazil and he fights out of Sao Paulo. One thing to note with this young man is he claims a 20-3 record in mixed martial arts. He is 1-3 in his last 4 fights. Still, he should not be taken lightly. Jorge Patino.
This guy, Mike, comes out the first 5 minutes. You talk about a sprinter. This is one. At least half the fights on his record have ended in under a minute. And they say he does some crazy stuff like flying arm bars and posing down in the middle of a fight. Certainly a character. And he's up against a tough one, though, Pat Miletich. And Pat doesn't give much of an opening to anybody for offense.
Well, you see the 100% Jesus shirt. Well, 100 miles an hour is how Patino fights, and Miletich is very aware of that. He is very aggressive, he says, of his opponent. Our UFC 16 lightweight tournament champion right here in this building. Pat Miletich defends his title now.
He's very aggressive. He's a very aggressive fighter. I think his style matches up well for me because he'll make me open up. And that's what I need to do, and that's the perfect opponent for me. I've watched films of him. He looks very strong, very explosive, and constantly attacking, so it'll be a good fight. The crowd's going to enjoy it.
Perhaps the most experienced lightweight fighter in the world, the UFC and mixed martial arts world, 26-1-2. This young man has spent lots of time, as he says, in the cage. Pat Miletich, our reigning lightweight champion, who is big for a lightweight, and we know he's got great ground skills.
Very good grappling background, knows how to wrestle, is big for this weight class. He's somebody that doesn't mind cutting weight to get down to it. Puts it right back on, just a little dehydrating and rehydrating. And he is our lightweight champion. It is tough to get to this guy.
Tail of the tape for our lightweight title bout. Pat Miletich, the elder statesman by 4 years, taller by 2 inches. Both had to get down to make weight. They have done it before. They did it yesterday. They're ready to go here today. Another matchup of an American against a Brazilian. The Brazilian reigned supreme a moment ago. For the official introductions, as Miletich, wearing the Iowa trunks, defends his belt. Here's Bruce Belfort.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next fight is for the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World. Beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a jiu-jitsu expert with a mixed martial arts record of 20-3. A 5-time Brazilian Vale Tudo champion. He stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds. He comes to us from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and is making his octagon debut. Please welcome Jorge Luis Patino. And his opponent, standing to my right, he is a jiu-jitsu expert with a mixed martial arts record of 26-1-2 and a UFC record of 3-0. He stands 5 feet, 10 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds. Fighting out of Bettendorf, Iowa, he is the UFC Lightweight Champion of the World. Please welcome the Croatian sensation, Pat Miletich.
From Davenport, Iowa, fighting out of the fighting city of Bettendorf, Iowa, and wearing his Iowa trunks again this evening, as Big John McCarthy is set to get this one started. 15 minutes, 2 3-minute overtime period for our lightweight title bout.
Here we go. UFC Lightweight Championship. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on.
Patino is a southpaw.
And that's going to play heavy. I wanted to get that comment in. Let's see how Miletich reacts to that. You certainly don't want to circle into the power of that arm.
He's starting to tell me, partner, after a half dozen of these, we're on the same page.
We are on the same page.
It is just wonderful to be back with you here in 1999. Again, thank you to all our fans worldwide. Continuing to be loyal to the one, the only, the UFC. The ultimate proving ground, the Octagon.
Patino definitely, oh, nice little counter there. Here's that explosiveness from Jorge.
I wonder if there is anything that Pat Miletich has not experienced inside a mixed martial arts event with his 30 fights.
Probably tactic-wise, no, but everybody does things a little bit different. Until you see him at least once, you can be caught.
Guard now, Patino. Miletich on top. They're back up.
Miletich wants to keep it on the feet. Didn't even bother to punch from within the guard. Feels he might be able to take Patino out with his striking skills.
Well, he's always said that he's a slow starter, a counter fighter, if you will. It takes a while for him to get his depth perception.
Find the range, I think is what they say.
Yeah, and he always feels he's so well conditioned too, Jeff. He's not afraid to go deep into a fight.
Absolutely not.
Set up your weight.
As I said early in the night, Jack Lambert got to be proud of this kid. He's the Jack Lambert of mixed martial arts. Trying to work the right ribs a bit with the short rabbit punches. Back up. You surprised?
I'm a little bit surprised, but I think what he wants to do is force the issue on the feet and make Patino take some chances. Patino really hasn't done anything except punch, try the shot, and immediately be looking for the guard.
A lot of Muay Thai, a lot of kickboxing. So Miletich has good striking ability. It's not his biggest asset, but it's not considered a weakness either. He stood toe-to-toe with Mikey Burnett a bit in Brazil, Jeff.
Yes, he did.
And Mikey perhaps has the best striking assets in the lightweight division.
Certainly the most powerful.
No question.
Might be people that can put combinations together better. Might be a little bit slicker with combinations, but for raw power, Mikey is big.
Patino also very well conditioned, very well put together. Oh, he went for a high kick.
Very defensive battle by Patino. This is interesting. He's really not engaging very much.
Pat, a big fan of our organization, has been active in debates with local politicians and trying to give everyone the opportunity to make their own choice in viewing the UFC. I know our friends in Canada are happy to be back with the opportunity to see us live.
And all the people I talked to from Canada, people involved with the pro martial arts movement, North America, you folks did a great job up there. You never kept quiet. You kept sounding your opinion. You kept finding rationale as to why people were trying to stop it. And you won the right to view the UFC again in Canada. And we want to thank those cable companies for looking at us, reassessing us with the modifications we've made, and finding us safe to compete.
And Americans can have the same effect if they continue to do those things that you just described that the friends of ours north of the border have been able to do.
Well, I got to admit, I read the lists on the internet. Yes, folks, I have heard those critics who have talked about everything to do with the UFC. We thank you for your input. We thank you for your fanatic support through some of the lean times, and we're hoping that we can get the momentum going because of the modifications we have made, because of our true safety record inside the octagon, that we can make it back on all of cable and be accepted as a sport.
A lot of the guys will say a fighter's a fighter. These guys are some of the best. 5 minutes, 15 seconds into the lightweight title defense #1 of Pat Miletich. He's defeated Burnett, Saunders, and Brennan. 3-0 in his UFC fighting career. He wants Patino to come at him. He says, let's do something here, Macaco.
Well, Patino certainly backing up this entire fight. I can understand him wanting to draw Miletich in and then take advantage of that, but he has yet really to do any of it.
Claims to be a 5-time Brazilian Vale Tudo champion, does Jorge Luis Patino.
And that range is getting quicker for Miletich in terms of closing. Starting to find the range.
And again, they split up.
Keep that up. Keep that up. Keep it moving.
Pat Miletich a former Muay Thai champion. With one of his best friends, Mark Hansen, in the corner again. There's the Muay Thai. He pulled back the kick. Bit of a knot on the forehead of Pat Miletich, so at least one of the punches has landed from Patino.
Come on, let's work.
6.5 minutes in. 15-3-3 on this one, remember.
And Patino picking up the action a little bit more. A couple kicks and a punch. This is where Miletich likes to be. Using his long body, apply leverage, slow it down, and then start to create small openings and exploit it.
A knee attempted to the head.
Guy's got basically front headlock position in wrestling. He'll lift the circle and whip him down. Uses his knees well. Nice job by Patino to get out of that front headlock. Not a lot of action there, though. Neither fighter able to capitalize on that position. Halfway point of regulation. 7.5 minutes.
A wrestler since second grade, Pat Miletich. But he has not been able to display the ground skills that have led to his championship so far in his UFC career here tonight.
Well, so far he's chosen not to fight on the ground with Patino. He's gotten up each time he's taken him down.
Stop dancing, stop fighting.
Patino is a BJJ guy, as we said before, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
He nearly dunked into that kick.
Oh, there's a left foot from Pat Miletich. Now he closes the corners again. That one landed.
Wow, that was close. Had an opportunity to go after Miletich's ankle.
Pat gave him the head shake. We see it so often with the competitor.
Might have been the Achilles there, too, the way he was hooking it onto the back of that foot of Miletich's.
Keep attacking, both of us work.
These guys know the game so well, Jeff. I love when they shake head at each other saying, all right, you almost had me. Nice try. Try again if you wish.
Body language, that subtle communication.
Yes, if you so desire. No time for talking inside the octagon unless you're Big John barking out instructions. High kick attempt. Grazes off the hand.
Gotta go after him, guys. Let's go. Get after the man. Let's go.
9 minutes, 25 seconds deep. 5.5 remaining in regulation.
Now Patino's doing a lot of backing up, and it's making Miletich really have to chase him hard. Miletich has always stayed within himself, though. He's not sprinting after him and trying to do crazy strikes. He's staying within himself, and that's a disciplined athlete. And it just seems Patino is trying to get him to follow him so much.
Good crowd tonight inside the Pontchartrain Center.
They're a little antsy. They want to see a little
more vocal now. Jab attempt by Makako. And again, remember he's a southpaw. We said that top of the fight. This time he counters with a right.
He's a southpaw that fights right-handed.
Yeah. It worked for Rocky. But that was a movie. This is real life.
Well, let's see if he comes out in overtime. Southpaw. 11 minutes down. 4 left in regulation.
Forget bad imitations.
And Miletich really hasn't thrown a punch here in over a minute. Spent all his time chasing and then blocking. Patino with a tactic of you're going to have to chase and I'll set the terms of engagement.
This is the most intense hand-to-hand combat anywhere. These guys have spent a lot of time sizing each other up. Good right kick from Miletich. The crowd once more. A smile on Pat's face after that. Rush towards him. Pat leaned in with the left. And Patino tried to counter.
Seems as though Miletich's punching is just ended. He's not throwing any more punches.
This is certainly a lot less fatiguing, so the advantage, and I don't know if he's better conditioned than Patino. We haven't seen Patino before.
McCarthy in the face of Patino saying engage him.
There we go. Started to say we have not seen Pat have to go to the extra tank that he always seems to possess, and Patino may have one conditioning-wise also. He's just 25 years old. Appears from his physical presence to be excellently conditioned, which is one of Miletich's main weapons. Happy to take those rabbit punches to the side, and again, Pat wants up. Doesn't want to play that game tonight.
And we could see Patino's legs moving up high all the time, looking for submission, and to see Miletich feels more comfortable on his feet, or at least his defense here, because Patino hasn't really scored anything yet. I see that knot on Miletich's forehead, but you know it's not blowing up in any way. Very small. And I'm sure Miletich must feel this guy's doing nothing but backing up, and if he's going to back up this much, can he be given the fight? But boy, I'll tell you, he's done a lot of stopping and attacking Miletich the last few minutes, and now, bit of a takedown, side mount.
Minute and a half remaining in regulation. We would have not one but two overtimes of 3 minutes each if needed.
Watch for knees to Miletich's side. And it looks as though Patino's trying to force Miletich into the fence.
Gotta work, gotta work.
1 minute remaining, Mike.
Gotta work.
Regulation period. Mark Hansen right there. You see Mark's head in the screen. Used to play football across the line against Pat Miletich. Mark was the offensive lineman. Pat was the nose tackle on the opposing team.
And he's found the guard now. Patino tried to mount him, but Miletich able to get to the guard.
30 seconds now remains in regulation time. Patino impressive. Will he let Miletich up the same way? No. Oh, he went for a big kick. Jumped up and tried to kick it down. Not kick the man is down.
That's a foul.
That may hurt him on points. That may hurt him on points because this one has been close. Remember the groin strike hurt Mikey Burnett in Brazil in the title fight against Miletich.
You ready? Turn around, Jorge.
Instinct took over there.
You ready? Let's get it
Patino trying to make something happen.
Countries like Brazil, they allow kicking while they're down. Here in the United States, we have a rule against that.
Other forms of fighting, it is legal. Overtime is where we head now.
They'll take a minute break before they start the overtime period, and you're right about that foul at the judge's discretion. That could be used in the case of a close fight as criteria.
Finish it off. You got to get after him and finish it off. Don't leave it to a judge.
And here Miletich trying to get up. Patino didn't give him the opportunity. He did a double foot stomp trying to get one of those legs down, and that is illegal. Miletich on his back, a grounded fighter. No kicking a grounded fighter. John McCarthy quick to move in. Didn't hurt Miletich. but nonetheless an illegal tag.
It didn't land. No damage done. This is UFC 18. Happy to be with you once again here in the new year. Mike Goldberg, Jeff Blatnick, enjoying another great evening of mixed martial arts competition. And once again, a great thanks to our crew who does a wonderful job bringing you the performances of these athletes, not just here stateside, but around the world.
Jorge, turn it around. Thanks, me. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on.
Overtime number 1. The first of 2 at 3 minutes each. What may we see differently in the overtime session? What do we need to see differently, perhaps, Jeff?
For Patino, I think he's going to have to stop backing up and start engaging. For Miletich, same old, same old. He's been moving forward. He's throwing punches. I think Miletich, though, really kind of let off on the punching frequency towards the end of regulation. If he could pick it up here and dominate overtime, he'll ensure himself a victory. Temple knees.
Tim Catalfo, Dave Meltzer, and Eddie Goldman again are officials this evening. Meltzer and Goldman, respected journalists. Catalfo, the owner of the Obaki Fight Show, the founder of American Submission.
Looking for a guillotine, but he's able to sit under it and pop his head out.
Speaking of submissions. Pat Miletich choked out Chris Brennan at 9:01. His other 2 fights, though, inside the octagon have gone the 21 minutes. Pat has even said he was disappointed with his last performance. He expected this one to be more exciting. Maybe that's why he's been on his feet so much, with that knockout mentality of Vitor Belfort.
Gotta get after it.
Nice kick.
Patino's pretty darn strong on the ground. Miletich again wants nothing of it.
Seems really flexible down there, able to bring his legs up real high, and it just seems Miletich doesn't want to give him any hope of a quick submission.
Get after each other. Let's go.
Miletich being aggressive on his feet, generally moving forward the whole time.
Patino, along with his jiu-jitsu skills, uses low and high kicks, elbows, and punches. Boxing, Valley Tudo training. Suppose Miletich in his scouting report, though, has to feel he is in the worst position on the ground with the jiu-jitsu specialist, which is generally not the case for Miletich. He's one of the best in the world on the ground.
Very good guard.
A quick flurry, nothing landed yet.
And this is the first time we've seen Patino move forward.
He's got to move forward, Jeff. He's got to make up for that mistake that he made also.
Certainly that can be viewed by the judges as a criteria. It's up to their discretion. But I just feel that Pat's been moving forward. He's landed a couple punches.
Right there. Go back to the corner.
That's going to do the first overtime.
Number 1 overtime in the books. What a 10 months it has been for Pat Miletich. Can he hold on for 3 more minutes and render a judge's decision and defend his belt?
Miletich takes Patino down here. It almost looks like wrestling. And then right here, it looked as though he could have gone for a knee bar or some kind of an ankle submission, but Miletich able to escape. Another view of it. This is a different takedown. This is where he had the double overhooks on Miletich. Miletich landed, was able to get his arms free, and eventually backed out of that position as well. I clearly wonder, though, you know, Miletich, you wonder if he's the kind of champion that when he's really tested, he rises to the occasion, and if he's not tested, he just doesn't look real good. Nothing against Pat right here. It's just he hasn't really been able to get his offense going against Patino. He's just been in the regulation backing up. He started moving forward in the last overtime. this is where Miletich isn't throwing punches now. Nice kick.
Oh, he ducked under the way of that one and throws down his opponent. That will help for aggressiveness. That will earn him some more points. Maybe put a pad on things.
Gotta work your way through.
Aggressiveness, grappling, and striking, the criteria used by our officials. We've told you that before. The most intense bare knuckle combat on the planet. 100% adrenaline, 1,000% pure guts.
Interesting, he's working on the left side, the left ribs of Patino, and now as he goes, oh! And he went for it there. Instead of backing out, he came back with a right hand down, and he caught Patino.
Patino had become accustomed to him just standing up and walking away. Good tactic used by Miletich. He could be locking things up. No pun intended right here.
Everything you got, come on.
Well, if Patino doesn't do anything to get out of here, if he's just going to lay there and hold Miletich close, he's basically conceding. He needs to be active. He needs to roll up. He needs to cause Pat Miletich to either get, whoa, and he tried for his own kick there. Both of them a change of tactic as they backed out.
Gotta bring it now, Jorge.
Miletich with a punch. Patino with a kick as Miletich exited the guard.
Last minute of the lightweight title defense for Pat Miletich. Watch the neck. Trying to land the guillotine.
He needs to get across the body.
Uh-oh. He's got some leverage, Jeff.
As long as he ties up Miletich's legs. He doesn't have it sunk quite deep enough because Miletich is enough across the body.
Pat's got to hold out for 30 more seconds, and he's away from his corner. I wonder if he knows that.
He's working his chin back underneath here, and he's breathing all right. It's across the side of his neck.
20 seconds.
It just doesn't seem Patino can find the leverage.
15 seconds. Now he's not getting the leverage, as you said. The legs came loose, Jeff.
He's still in a good position, but he just can't anchor the bottom half of Miletich, so he can't get the crucial pressure needed to make that guillotine choke work.
And that would have been crucial if he could have landed it. Good finish for Patino. Miletich with the arms raised feels he has defended his crown.
Well, I tell you, he works awful hard to get his victories, and he earns every one of them because he lays his heart out there. Perhaps not the flashiest, but thus far the most effective.
Undoubtedly. For the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 overtimes, we have a unanimous decision for the winner and still lightweight UFC champion of the world, the Croatian sensation, Pat Miletich.
4-0, Pat Miletich, crowned champion once again. He won the first ever lightweight tournament, the first ever lightweight championship. Tonight he gets his first ever title defense. Coming up, what everyone has been waiting for, not for a couple of hours, but for a number of weeks and months. Boss Rutten enters the octagon for the first time, and he takes on a veteran in his own right, the young but effective Tsuyoshi Kosaka, the heart of a lion, Tank Abbott said about Tsuyoshi Kosaka. Rutten Kosaka as the road continues. And they are getting set to enter the octagon. And what a moment it will be. The anticipation and the hype has been so utterly outstanding for this man, Boss Rutten. I mean, they are waiting at the gates for Boss Rutten to enter the octagon. Tell you what, this guy, isn't too bad himself. 4th degree black belt in traditional Kodokan Judo. 12 years of judo training. Born in Shiga, Japan, fighting out of Seattle, Washington. I can just tell with the drape on him. He is in the best shape of his life. Improving his conditioning at the Washington State Acceleration Institute with Maurice Smith. There is the man they call TK.
Excellent groundwork. Look for him in submission skills. He feels the advantages on the ground. Tremendous heart, excellent endurance, and has improved his striking with the alliance of Maurice Smith.
The wait is nearly over. There he is, Boss Rutten from Holland, fighting out of Los Angeles. Has photographic reflexes. He sees a movement once or twice and performs it flawlessly. As much anticipation, if not more, than for any fighter in the history of the Ultimate. A great striker who has suffered not a single defeat in 3 years.
Also good at submissions coming out of Pancrase. He was king of Pancrase. United the title with a victory over Frank Shamrock. Later on, he's now left Pancrase, and he's in the ultimate proving ground, the Octagon.
Tail of the tape as the road continues. Rutten and Kosaka, both submission specialists. Rutten 5 years older, 2 inches taller, 17 pounds lighter. Could that be a factor? We know the TK guard is one of the best in the nation. Will he have to use it? Will this go to the ground? Let's get the official introductions from Vitor Belfort.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final event of the evening. This heavyweight battle begins with the fighter standing to my left. He is a submission fighter and veteran of UFC 16 and UFC Ultimate Brazil. He has a UFC record of 2-0, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighing in at 228 pounds. He comes to us from Shiga, Japan, and is fighting out of Seattle, Washington. Please welcome Tsuyoshi Kosaka. And his opponent, a kickboxer and submission fighter with a professional Muay Thai record of 14-2 and a mixed martial arts record of 25-4-1. He is the former Muay Thai European champion and king of Pancrase. He stands 6 feet, 1 inch tall, weighing in at 211 pounds. He comes to us from Eindhoven, Holland, and is fighting out of Los Angeles, California. Please welcome tonight, he is making his Octagon debut, Boss Rutten.
Boss feels the pressure. He says, I read the internet. Coming into the UFC with so much hype provides an added element of pressure. This is the heaviest weight he's ever fought at. He's ready. So's Big John.
Let's get it on!
Get it on again. The road to the heavyweight title. TK is a warrior. Boss is ready to go.
Contrast in personalities, they're very much different. Contrast in organizations that they fought for in Japan. Pancrase for Boss Rutten, and the Rings organization for Tsuyoshi Kosaka, and of course the difference in styles. Rutten comes in here with the reputation of being a murderous kicker and murderous striker. He only could use open hands in Pancrase, but now he can use closed fist. And it'll be interesting to see how Kosaka can bear the strike attack of Boss Rutten, and can he get him down so that he can use his grappling skills. And he succeeded.
TK in the guard of Boss Rutten has Boss up against the octagon fencing in front of Maurice Smith, the former champion. A man who Rutten defeated twice in Pancrase, once by knee bar, once by choke. Rutten has lost twice to Ken Shamrock. He's 2-1 against Frank Shamrock.
And the question is Rutten trained in the guard position being pushed up against the fence. That's something that he never faced in the Pancrase. They use a ring style, and if you go out and under, they bring you back and start you over. Here, there's no getting out.
Now you can avoid a submission by getting yourself to the ropes. And this is going to be a continuous, pressurous fight, where there are more natural stoppages in the Pancrase style. TK burst onto the scene.
Side mount.
In his defeat of Chemo.
And that's a tactic I haven't seen yet. And I always wondered why people didn't elbow the thigh. If you're going to kick the thigh, why not elbow it? And Boss Rutten explodes right from underneath. They're back up on their feet.
TK keeping the hands up, Jeff, as he tries to close the gap a lot.
Rutten's legs are really where his reputation lies. They say he was the hardest kicker ever in Pancrase. Well, one thing's for sure, of all this video I've scouted of Boss Rutten, he can be taken down. And this is Kosaka's domain.
Keep in mind.
And he immediately swings Boss Rutten again to take advantage of fence.
Keep in mind, Jeff, that you talk about the dangerous kicks of Boss Rutten. TK is one of his best friends and training partners, Maurice Smith. Not a bad kicker himself.
Not at all. That alliance served two purposes. It taught Maurice Smith the guard to beat Coleman, and it's helping striking ability by Maurice teaching Kosaka.
Displayed there momentarily by TK. That's the one thing TK had to do, was get used to getting hit. He's trying to deliver the blows, and he connects with Rutten there.
Good work, you're doing good.
Rutten was very loose coming into tonight's fight. Out from the guard, a couple of quick lefts.
Short, straight lefts by Rutten, creating some distance and striking from the bottom.
TK, a great competitor, also one of the nicest gentlemen you will ever deal with.
And if there's one thing we've seen about Kosaka, he doesn't tire.
No.
He will keep this pace the whole time.
He's working out on a $30,000 treadmill to work on his conditioning. His conditioning looks excellent here as he works from up top.
And Rutten got a couple of stiff rights in there.
TK trying to counter. Oh, he delivers there. That one got through. And there is Rutten again. Oh, that one got through a bit too. Rutten's a bit bloodied up, yep. Now Rutten working the backside. There's the elbows to the thigh. And to the side.
Nice
various strikes. TK knows he can't leave that area of his face vulnerable to the left leg of Boss Rutten. There it is again.
And he's waiting for him to throw the punch before he throws the knee. Because he knows, that one got into the midsection of Boss Rutten.
Kosaka said about Boss, he's very smart. His groundwork is getting better. And he is a fast striker. Is this advantage Kosaka, Jeff?
On the ground, absolutely. Absolutely.
And ironically, we haven't seen the world-famous TK guard have to be utilized yet.
Well, the big question is can Rutten take down Kosaka? Most people think no, unless it comes after a heavy strike.
Great aggressiveness being utilized by TK.
That's your corner.
Back to the corner, he is set.
You got to improve it again. Get back to your corner.
Kosaka was active.
Darrell, face me.
But John McCarthy said you need to improve from the position. So basically what he was saying is you're in the guard, neither one of you are trying to improve from it. I'm going to stand you up and we're going to get more action on the feet.
This is 12-3 on the road to the heavyweight title. Already an advancement being made tonight by Pedro Rizzo in his split decision victory over Mark the Hammer Coleman.
And Boss Rutten's hands are down a little bit now. Halfway up the chest.
through the regulation time period. Rutten has not lost a match in 3 years. Kosaka was very impressive against Pete Williams in Brazil.
Nice double. Nice double. Ducked the punch, came right up clean.
Trying to get back to the guard position. Half applied.
And Tsuyoshi Kosaka doing a great job of tying up the striker, Bas Rutten.
These young men know each other very, very well.
And they have many common opponents.
No question.
Smith has lost twice to Bas Rutten. Smith knows Rutten well, certainly a great striker, can imitate Bas Rutten's kickboxing style to work with Kosaka. That is why we see so many alliances between fighters, so that they can learn from one another. And the one thing said about Tsuyoshi Kosaka is a weakness is he can cut easily. And right now he appears to have a small one over his left eye.
Track and field star in high school. Bas Rutten started training in the martial arts at age 14 after about 2 years of begging his parents to allow him to do so. After 2 weeks of training, he broke a guy's nose in a street fight. Mom and Dad said, that's the end of that. So he didn't resume formal training until he was 21 years old. Now he fights for a living and does it pretty darn well. Both have open cuts on each other. Ironically, both have beat Maurice.
That's interesting, boy. Bas is so fast that as Kosaka raises, he fires those small little jab punches, short, maybe 6-inch punches, but they have an effect. Oh, there's a right. Another one.
Does Kosaka appear to be quicker than he has been in fights past, Jeff, to you? Can you tell a difference?
Not in striking skill. You know, down here on the ground, it's just up to the opponent's guard. The arms get in the way. How do you beat those arms? Kosaka's been active. He's always been punching from within Rutten's guard.
I mean, that's the proper word. Much more active with his striking than he had been in the past.
Well, particularly Pete Williams, for some reason, those two didn't strike much on the ground.
Well, that's direct result of working with Maurice Smith. They're back up again.
Bas Rutten has a huge welt under his left eye.
9.5 into it.
Stay right there. You see a towel.
How you feel? How you feel?
You face me, all right?
John McCarthy, as always, doing a great job inside the octagon.
Are you ready? Let's get it on. Come on now.
John just checking both fighters. Check Bas Rutten's face. That's a small cut, but also a welt. And they continue, and Rutten really hasn't gotten on board with his big leg kicks against Kosaka. Oh, and that one scored. That one hit hard. Came inside instead of outside.
That left a little welt on the inside of TK's right leg.
Instantly.
Nice show of sportsmanship.
Well, Kosaka keeps stomping that leg. That must have stung. That one must have hurt.
Now remember the analogy used before in talking about the kicking ability of Maurice Smith. It's like a baseball bat coming across your leg at 80 miles an hour. Both knees, the inside of the knees, are bruised up. Generally, we see the outside like we saw in the Coleman fight, Jeff. TK shoots. They're back up.
Rutten had to do everything he could just to sprawl out.
1 minute 5 seconds remaining in regulation, and then just a single 3-minute overtime. High kick again. Blazed away from TK.
Rutten's going for it now.
If that lands, that's trouble.
This has been a great fight. This really has been a very technical and tactical fight. Kosaka controlling it early. Boss Rutten now trying to impose his will, his skills. And those are his kicks and strikes.
That'll leave a mark.
Yeah, Rutten looked like he wanted to pull the trigger and just held on it.
Inside of the knee again, Jeff.
That was lower on the leg. Almost a sweep style. Tsuyoshi able to get the weight off that leg before Boss can really deliver one of those. And you see how quick they come. That leg goes out and back and it hits with power.
Oh, he delivered again. A good flurry. Rutten appears to be getting stronger as the match goes deeper and deeper. That was an impressive final 60 seconds of regulation for that man making his debut.
Yes, it did. He seemed to pick it up right there. He seemed to impose his will and say, I'm going to start picking at you.
1 minute and 3 minutes left, okay?
Those are his weapons. Those are his infamous weapons. Trademark in Japan. The results of this, Mike, are going to have ramifications in Japan because they both have competed over there, pancrase and rings. Some earlier action there, a good solid shot to the stomach by Tsuyoshi Kosaka. He would go back and forth, punching to the stomach, and then up on the feet, Rutten trying to get back in it, some knees from that guard, and then that big kick, which missed Kosaka, but it gives you an idea of what Boss Rutten is capable of doing.
Are you ready?
Surprised we didn't see that earlier in the fight.
Circle, all the way back. Are you ready? Let's get it on, come on!
Can't wait to get it going again.
3 minutes.
Don't leave it to a judge, come on!
This all comes down to these 3 minutes.
Rutten's got some confidence in this overtime. He became a bit of a different fighter in the final 60 seconds of the regulation. Bit of a different game. You can learn about it, fight about it, read about it, but until you do it, you can't tell the difference in mixed martial arts. The close fifth connects. TK mad at himself for letting it get through. Oh, again! A combination!
A 1-2. Kosaka's trying to punch with Boss Rutten, and I'm wondering why he doesn't bull rush and try to get under. Oh, nice straight punches there.
Wow, this one is close. This is going to be a tough decision if it goes that far. And again, good striking by Boss Rutten, answered by a knee.
Nice trade. Great fighting.
These guys are awesome tonight. And these are heavyweights, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. As I told you earlier, I'm a bit biased about the heavyweight division.
Big fan of the heavyweight division, my partner, Jeff Blattnick. One goes up with the arm, one goes to the midsection with the leg.
Kosaka can get a takedown here. He might be able to ice it. Oh,
get a strike. Aggressiveness again.
Boss Rutten now imposing his will.
High kick, left leg.
Right hand.
Again, aggressiveness. Uh-oh, leg up.
He likes to go for the guillotine here.
Rutten with the knee. TK backs off. A cut underneath the left eye of Tsuyoshi Kosaka. And another knee. Rutten's taken over. Rutten's taken over. It's over. Rutten has won his UFC debut.
Incredible victory for Boss Rutten. Might have been behind on the judges' card going into overtime, but he picked up the pace. He imposed his will on a very game Tsuyoshi Kosaka. And it was the leg kicks, the knees, punches in tandem in that final flurry that put Kosaka down. Kosaka wipes his eye after that attempted takedown, and that knee started it. Punches. Once he went down, again a knee, and that's when John McCarthy moved in. Kosaka, stunned by that flurry, unable to defend himself, and McCarthy ended the fight.
At 2 minutes, 15 seconds of overtime, we have a winner by referee stoppage. For the winner on his road to the heavyweight UFC championship, Boss Rutten. Let's have a big hand for Tsuyoshi Kosaka. This was
I said to him,
Here we go. It is just amazing here inside the octagon. Boss Rutten, congratulations, your UFC debut successful. Tell us what the fight was all about in your mind.
First of all, I have to thank some people. I'm sorry, I have to thank the Aslan Institute in Beverly Hills. They fixed me up because I couldn't fight anymore. I went in therapy with them and they fixed me up total free. I'm really, thank you very much.
You threw it with TK. This was an incredibly closely contested overtime and regulation period.
Yeah, I knew my corner said to me, he's not going to shoot anymore. He's going to be too tired. So then I said in this overtime, I said, give me the sign of 1 minute, and then I'll explode on him. Because when he then takes me down, the minute's over. So that's what I did. I just waited for the good shot and then unloaded on him.
Coming into the octagon for the first time, was there a bit of an adjustment period for you, Boz, or did you feel comfortable right from the start?
Comfortable right from the start. More comfortable than in ever fight. That's what I said to the people. I think because of the space, I'm a little bit claustrophobic, and this ring is really good for me.
You showed the big kicks, none of them landed. We know TK has great heart. When you started to land some blows, did you feel like you could go in for the finish?
Yeah, that's why I land high kicks. So he's going to expect kicks, and then I finish it off with punching.
Pedro Rizzo next for the heavyweight championship of the world. A dream come true for you?
He's my brother, but I'm going to be the champion. I'm going to do everything in my power. I have to do this, and I have to say, hallo pa, ma, en Karin en Sabine, ik hou van jullie allemaal.
Congratulations.
Arigato.
It is time to believe the hype. Arigato.
Thank you very much.
Jeff Blatnick.
Boss Rutten did explode in that last minute. Kosaka failed on a takedown. He got that one shot in, and when he did, he poured it on, and that led to his victory over Tsuyoshi Kosaka. And he, Boss Rutten, will move on. The road to the heavyweight title. Well, UFC fans, don't forget the ultimate contest with the ultimate prize for the ultimate fan. Send your cable letter to SCG Sports at either www.scg.com or send it to Ultimate Contest, SCG Sports. That would be on 32 East 57th Street in New York City, 10022.
And don't forget, still ahead on the schedule, we will be back to see Boss Rutten fight for the heavyweight championship against Pedro Rizzo. Friday, March 5th, 9 o'clock. Get in touch with your cable operators right now. Let them know you want to be part of another historic night. What did we say at the beginning of the night? Should we believe the hype? I suppose we shall.
Nothing was more stunning than how quickly Boss Rutten can pour strikes in when he finally gets an opening. Kosaka was game. He may have led after the regulation period, but Boss Rutten said it. He's getting tired. He may not be able to get the takedown. Kosaka failed, and as soon as they got back to the feet, that's when Boss exploded.
What a way to start our 9-99. Another great job, partner.
Thank you very much, Mike. You too. But we want to wish everybody there on the road to the championship, the two heavyweights, Rizzo and Boss Rutten, the best of luck. Vitor Belfort will be looking for you as well. Overall, Pat Miletich defended his lightweight championship. Great card, Mike.
No question, and we hope to see Frank Shamrock again on our next card. Well, what a night it was. A good debut for Evan Tanner as he reigned victorious over Darrell Gholar. Mikey Burnett showed his striking skills. That fight never went to the ground, and he was able to take it to Townsend Saunders. But it wasn't a perfect night for the Lions Den. as Tito Ortiz revenged his loss to Guy Metzger. Impressive striking skills, taking it to Jerry Bohlander and firing the shots at the den. The road began with Pedro Rizzo and Mark Coleman searching for redemption. It was a split decision, a close one indeed. Rizzo wins. And then the master himself, the Croatian sensation. He does what is necessary to earn victory. He defends for the first time here in New Orleans. Anticipation built all evening long. We knew there was a warrior in front of him and a trip to the title fight. But in the overtime, we saw what was advertised for months. The real Boss Rutten. For Jeff Platnick and our crew here in New Orleans, I'm Mike Goldberg saying so long, everybody. This has been the UFC.